And we're live. People, deluded. I'm back again. I've got DJB and Kenny Ken in the building. We have a lot, but not much to discuss, man. How you lot doing?
Yeah, all good. All good. Yeah, not a bad day today. A little bit busy, but yeah, keeping an eye on things with this football club, and yeah, all good. Thank you for having me on, DG.
Nah, man, pleasure's mine.
I'm good as well. You say there's not much to discuss, but the thing about football, it's got a funny old way of creating news. Because at the end of the day, I always say the boring parts sometimes is the match. The more exciting parts of football is the speculation, transfer speculation, very exciting to some, and obviously like I said, the previews and the reviews are very exciting of matches. But the actual match, damn squib. I've seen it so many times, whether it's a Premier League, League Cup, FA Cup, Champions League, and obviously international matches. You build it up and then, oh God. Champions League final example. You build it up. What was it? A one-sided affair. Never saw that coming.
Facts.
Football.
Bang on the money, Kenny, man. You're giving me a lot to think about. You're right, man. Especially with the Champions League final. I just remembered that actually PSG won 5-0. Let's start there. Like, does it feel a bit better that we lost to the team that actually ultimately went and won the competition, guys?
For me, it hasn't made me feel any better because at the end of the day, we should have done the job against PSG over 2 legs, really. So. Yeah, I mean, the fact that PSG has won it has not kind of made the defeat any more better. The frustrating thing, what it did make, was that looking at Milan play, looking at Inter play, I think if we would have been in the final, we may have sort of sneaked to win. And we could have sneaked to win. I'm not saying we could have done, but we may have done after looking at Inter, the way they showed up against PSG, because let's be honest, they didn't really play at all, and PSG had them in every single department. They were just absolutely ruthless. So there was an opportunity there if we'd have got to that final, and unfortunately we didn't. So it for me, it was kind of immaterial whether PSG won it. I never looked at it and thought to myself, oh, well, at least we lost to the champions. I didn't look at it like that, really. I looked at it as a missed opportunity over 2 legs, not getting to the final. That's how I looked at it.
Where are you at with that, Kenny?
Well, first and foremost, the best team won. If you
Arteta reckons we were the best team in the champs, though.
Yeah, maybe that was, hindsight is 2020. And reflections like even double that. And I think maybe, you asked him the question straight after the game. I'm sure if you asked Mikel the question a few days afterwards, he'll put his hand up and say, we lost to the better side. Mm-hmm. If Arsenal fans want to take context of it, well, what they've done is that they probably would have kept the score down, but they still would have lost to PSG anyway. PSG, if you take the whole 180 minutes, I think we were probably on top for 30 minutes of that. But apart from that, PSG was sharper tactically. They passed the ball better than us. And what they did better than us and what took us by surprise is that their work rate off the ball was just phenomenal, especially in the first movement. You had Kvaratskhelia, Vitinha, Neves. You had players like Bakola were coming on. You had Doué. Off the ball, they worked hard, and that's what really took us by surprise. We've probably thought our work rate would probably get us through our physical rate, but they matched us physically, and off the ball, they protected that lead phenomenally.
Every English team they've played, they've combated this physicality stuff that everyone says. Liverpool, Villa, and Arsenal.
Completely taken by surprise by the way their defence is shaped when Robertson kept on putting those crosses in, and McKennie also said, boom, headed it out. They knew it was coming. They had this sort of sixth sense on how us, Villa and Liverpool play, and they deserved it. And you know what they did? in that final. Their youth killed Internazionale. Internazionale looked old.
Mm.
You know, DeMarco just went right in, weak click, boom, off you go, add in. It was ruthless. It was like basically like a knife through butter, sharp.
Facts.
And
which is sad.
Not only that, it was also the way they play, their freedom. They play with so much freedom. You know, players are sort of joining in attack from midfield. Vitinha's got like a free role. He's kind of left. He's on the right. He's picking the ball up in the centre.
You can't pick them up full stop, DJ.
No,
man.
and it's nice. It's refreshing to see. And this is what I want at my football club. You know, when they get in the final third, you know, they've got so many options and they look dangerous. You know, and they get the ball into transition they get the ball from transition very, very quickly. Whereas we seem to sort of slow it down. We'll take an extra touch in midfield, then we'll look to pass sideways, and then we'll take another couple of touches, and it kind of all breaks down. And it was refreshing to see PSG the way they was playing. And I knew that our number was up when I watched PSG in that first leg against Liverpool. They absolutely battered them. I know Liverpool came out with a sort of 1-0 win, but even the Liverpool manager Arnie turned around and said, "We got out of jail there.
It was smash and grab.
We've literally blown up the bars and escaped." You know what I mean? I mean, it was a case of they absolutely got hammered. And I looked at that PSG because I went to the Emirates early in the season when we beat them 2-0, and that they were miles different team. And I looked at PSG against Liverpool. And I said, that's the team that's winning the Champions League. You know, they. So, I mean, big up to PSG. They've done. It was nice to watch for any football fan. It's refreshing to see a team play like that. It really is.
I think you're bang on. Beyond the obvious for you two, then obviously you can't help but be jealous of PSG. I do think there's certain things PSG do that we do that are kind of similar, but like. Beyond the obvious, what have they got that we don't have? Or what should we aspire to have based on what PSG have and we don't have?
Players for every position, DJ. They have 2 players for every position, particularly on the flanks. And what they have as well is youth as well, hungry players. Players who are willing to learn and are only going to get better. And in essence, all those players that they brought on, they're future internationals as well. Future internationals. They're a team. I'm not saying we're not a team, but we've still got gaps in our side that need filling big time. And we have weaknesses in our team which need to be corrected. I didn't really see any weaknesses in PSG. Don't get me wrong, they evolved because, as DG said, that game at the Emirates Stadium was our best performance of the season. It was easily our best performance. From the goals we scored, you know, from Havertz and Saka, not in particular order, and the way we defended, you know, we made sacrifices when PSG had the ball. You know, we didn't result into very few chances of any at all. That was easily our best performance. But what's happened is that we didn't really carry it out throughout Europe. Whilst PSG, from the Man City game when they were 2-0 down, that was a different PSG. That's a different PSG. And from then on, it was a case where that's how they played. And they never looked back from that Man City game. Different players. Dembele made up with Enrique. Players finally realised that you have to work hard to beat the top teams in Europe, and you have to make sacrifices.
Facts.
And that's what they did. So that's what they do better. Don't get me wrong. Our team makes sacrifice for Mikel. There's no doubt about it. They work the nuts off for him and they obey him tactically. However, there's still a few players this season didn't do so that were bang off form. We had more players off form this season than we had players in form. And that cost us in the league. Not so much the Champions League, but when you played a real team, you know, as I said earlier, the better team won. I know there's a lot of people who came out with stats. I say to people with stats, but stats, I'll say it respectfully. Put your calculators away, put your pens away, and watch the bloody match. Because you watch the
stats don't lie, but they don't tell the truth.
That the better team won. Yeah, we had chances. We took them by surprise, and they're right. Donnarumma was fantastic, made some great saves, but Donnarumma was one of the best goalers in the world. You expect him to make the spectacular saves because that's what he's there for. But
that's his job.
After they weathered the storm, there was only one team going to Munich, and it weren't us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with a lot of what Kenny says, but I will also add on to that is the one thing that they've got they had players in form, and secondly they've got 2, maybe 3 players with creativity. I'm really struggling to look at where our creativity lies, and
or match winners.
People will turn around and say, "Well, Martin Odegaard," but Martin Odegaard, let's be honest, has not been nowhere near the Martin Odegaard that we've seen in previous seasons. All season long, right from day one, he's just not been on it. And people say, "Oh, since his injury," but if you look back at the games, he just hasn't been around. So if you take Martin Odegaard out of the equation, where else is the creativity coming from?
Saka and Rice, probably.
Possibly Saka, but from a central midfield player, you're talking minimum. Whereas if you look at PSG, they've got Kvaratskhelia, they've got Vitinha, they've got Duo, they've got creativity, and then you've got Dembele coming in little pockets and making things happen. So they've got, like, in attacking third, they've got like 4 or 5 players, and that's without their fullbacks that when they push on become effective as well. So this is what we need to look at, because their creativity all over the park is miles ahead of us. We're looking at 1 or 2 players, and that's if they're at it. You know, if Saka gets isolated, if Saka gets sort of 2 or 3 players man marked, then you've got no creativity really from the right. So if they lock down the right, you've got nothing. You got absolutely nothing. And this is what's worrying for me about the players that we've got coming in. Are they going to give us that creativity that we're going to need to go to that next level?
I wish I could disagree. I wanted to ask you something as well, yeah, because obviously Dembele, like Kenny lightly touched on it about Ousmane Dembele, he's defending, he's doing all the other facets. It's typically, obviously he can play up front, but he's typically known as a winger. He's playing as a false 9. Is that something you lot can see Mikel Arteta mimicking? Maybe not in terms of quality, but you've got your false 9, which theirs is Dembele, ours is probably Kai Havertz, and then you've got your plan B, which we'll get onto it, but could be a Gyokeres or Sesko. For them, it's Ramos.
Yeah, but I think false 9s, we to be honest, our game, especially in England and in Europe, is basically a game of false 9s. You know, if you were to put your hand on heart and say, tell me the traditional strikers, they're few and far between now because of the way we play, because of the fact that the work rate that is needed off the ball. You know, the striker's got to be the first defender.
Exactly.
You know, most importantly as well, the striker has to be able to operate in all areas of the front three. You know, he has to accept that he has to accept slow build-ups now.
He's like a sacrificial lamb.
When his chance arises, then he has to be able to be there. You know, the reason why Haaland's unique is because of the goals he scored. Is unique is because he's just a dying breed. Him and Harry Kane.
He's an anomaly, really, in the modern game.
Yeah, and you could probably put Mbappe there, but Mbappe's different. Mbappe can play up top. He scored 31 goals at La Liga goals. You can't knock him for that. Can't knock him for it. No matter whether you criticise him, whether you blame him for the fact that Real Madrid didn't go too deep in the Champions League as they normally do, or they didn't win the La Liga. In his first season, he scored 31 goals. You could call it a Farmers League, whether you like it or not. The fact he scored 31 goals.
It's ridiculous.
Haaland, has been hit and miss, but still scored over 20 Premier League goals for his 3rd consecutive season. But mostly, in terms of like the false number 9, Arsenal have been doing that for quite a while. Could you seriously, hand on heart, say that Jesus was a genuine centre forward?
No, we knew he wasn't.
But that was a player that when he came to us in the 22-23 season, he was a player that was the missing link. He was a player that was, that can help us romp to the league. But we
Helped
knew
Martinelli and Odegaard greatly to back up your point.
We knew that when he first came to the football club, his best goals total was 14 goals.
Yeah, no, it's fact. I mean, we have been pretty much playing with a false nine, and the problem is if you play with a false nine, you still need players running from deep from midfield to make things happen. And I've been saying it for ages. I mean, yeah, we need a striker, but we also need a very, very, very good creative another very good creative midfield player, a dynamic midfield player, like a Paul Merson, David Rocastle of the days gone by, Aaron Ramsey, that sort of player, and we haven't had that. We haven't had that. We haven't had that midfield player that gets the ball and sort of makes things happen, makes the runs, opens things up for that false nine or the out-and-out striker to kind of make runs and, so it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked this season. And, whether we've got to revert back to the old style centre forward, getting balls into the box, trying to get him through, trying to play through balls for him to run onto, that may have to be another road. It may have to be an avenue we have to go down because teams have found us out now. Managers find it easy to play against us. Teams find it easy to play against us. We're not scary anymore. People, they come to the Emirates and they feel they can get something now. When we go away, we tend to kind of struggle a lot in large areas of the game. We tend to struggle and break teams down. And then when we are on the back foot, we look vulnerable. And if you take away the defence, we would be absolutely really, really
in trouble.
We would be in trouble, 100%. So for me, what Kenny said, we've pretty much been playing with a false nine, pretty much for the last sort of 2 seasons on and off, really. And that has to change. I mean, if we do bring a striker in, we may have to just revert back to the old-fashioned centre forward.
I can't see Arteta doing that though, man. And I think pick up real gems. He said interchangeable is an important part of PSG, and I understand it in that we've got a unique brand. Arteta wants to put his style, but I think he's got to a point, touching on what DJB said, in that it is quite predictable. It is quite easy to suss us out. We all know about the low blocks and all of that kind of stuff that is almost our kryptonite. Do you think we need more interchangeability in our own team, because we don't really see our attackers swap flanks? Like, I can't really tell you the last time I've seen that.
Oh, definitely. I've been saying it on and off the streams, and this is what I mean. We talk about plan Bs and everything else, and I'm not here to sort of like get into Arteta. People know where I stand with the football manager and that. But when you look at games, when you look at in-game play, you have to take chances. You have to take gambles, especially when you've got a left winger that can play in the centre. Especially when you've got options. You've got options to bring Martinelli off the left and play him down the middle, because then you can put Trossard on the left. You've got options there. You've got options. I mean, people say about Odegaard in the 10, but Odegaard's position, he can play in an 8 as well. Do you know what I mean? And I've never seen him try something different. Odegaard on an 8. Nwaneri comes on in a 10. So now you've got Saka, Nwaneri, Odegaard in an 8, Martinelli down the middle, Trossard on the left. Suddenly now it looks a bit, hang on a minute. Didn't anticipate Arsenal setting up like this today.
Exactly.
I thought it was going to be Marino up front. Saka, let's nullify Saka. Let's take him out of the game. Martinelli on the left, he's not having a great season. Job done. We can come away with a point or maybe 3 points. But this manager don't seem to try anything like that. He doesn't want to try things. He just wants to play the same way. And then you're hoping on set pieces, corners, moments in games. And for me, this is what's got to change going into next season. He has to gamble. He has to try and get the best out of the players he's got in the starting 11. if we're going to make these signings, and probably we'll get onto that, but if we're going to make these signings, then you've got to make the best with what you've got at the football club, because Martinelli needs something different. He needs his mojo back, because he's lost it, whether you like it or not. And a lot of Arsenal fans ain't going to like me saying it. He has fallen off of a cliff
for the last 2 years, man.
Unbelievable. He's unrecognisable. So he needs to try something. So when Martinelli did come into that centre, I'm not sure, was it against Southampton? I can't remember the game. He played him down the middle.
He's flirted with those kind of things. I'm sure he did it against Liverpool for at least a half or something.
And he goes against Liverpool, and he goes and scores, and you just think to yourself, like, why didn't he do it against PSG? We're going out the Champions League, the biggest competition in Arsenal's
die on your sword
that we haven't won. We're going out. We're like 2-0 down on aggregate. Whatever. Just try something different. Do you know what I mean? And this is why, you're not absolutely piling into the manager. You're throwing the questions out there to ask the reasons why can't he do that. It's not as if we're playing players completely out of their position. By switching Odegaard and by switching Martinelli, they're players that can handle that switch.
And also switch back as well. Like what you see with PSG.
Switch back. But he's not prepared to do that. So for me, I think going into next season, we have to, ignore the signings that are coming in. We have to make the best, and we have to make the most of the players we've got, and try and get the best out of them, and try and get them excited again. Because at the moment, it's predictable to watch. It's boring to watch. It's the same old. It's sideways and backwards. Martinelli's running down blind alleys. He can't get his head up. Saka's getting man marked 2 or 3 banked up. So he's running into brick walls.
Rice can only do so much.
He's running into brick walls. So then you're turning around and you're going, right, okay, so that's Saka out the game. Martinelli's out the game. Who are we looking at? Oh, no, we're looking at Odegaard. Well, we're not looking at Odegaard, because Odegaard's now out of form. He's undroppable. And you're just thinking to yourself, like, what's happening here, guys? So, yeah, it's still worrying for me, DG.
Why
is he reluctant to change or gamble then for you lot?
Well, the thing about it is, one thing is that you only seen our wide players swap flanks when Saka was injured. You saw it quite a bit in the second half of the season. Tottenham game. There was certain games, after January, especially the Spurs game, where we were swapping flanks, but we were only swapping flanks because we had Trossard and Martinelli. But when Saka's in the team, we never seem to swap flanks. The only time we seem to try it was in PSG. There was, that instance when Saka, created that chance for I think he created a chance. We put a cross in. And was it Martinelli felt to get on the end of it? Yeah, it was Martinelli.
That close there, wasn't it?
Yeah. Or against Madrid when Saka drifted in for the chipped goal as well.
Yeah. So that's when we sometimes do it. But 9 out of 10 times, Bukayo Saka, when he's in the side, I don't see him ever sort of like divert to the left or divert to the right. So for me, I do have that kind of suspicion, and I think sometimes players should be able to do that. Trick the defence, because not modern defences are used to inverted wingers now.
Exactly.
Trying to go direct, and we don't seem to do that at Arsenal. But again, you've got to remember with Mikel Arteta, he's not a very flexible manager. He hasn't been flexible since 2022-23. Like for instance, I hear people saying, when are we replacing Granit Xhaka as a number 8? And I say, well, hang on here. The footballing man in me says, well, hang on here. There's no room for a Granit Xhaka because we've changed the way we played. You're talking about Arsenal when they were on the front foot football in 22-23, where we were releasing the pace from Martinelli through the left-hand side. Odegaard was getting close to Saka. Thomas Partey was running the midfield virtually his own. But because teams were hitting us in a counter-attack in the second half of the season and scoring not just one goal, but a couple of goals. We were winning games, but we were basically like hemorrhaging goals. He changed the whole way we play. So when he changed the whole way you play, since 2023, so August 2023, that system's very rigid. And because that system's rigid, he doesn't. There is no room for the diagonal pass. There's no room for the long pass.
Rice said he hates diags.
Yeah, and there is absolutely no room for players to swap positions, and that's why, Mikel, he has to take the reins off, because, as DJB says, even the half decent teams are coming to the Premiership thinking, yeah, we've got a chance here. We'll get a point. We'll get a point, and that's what a lot of them did. Yeah, West Ham were awful when we played them at the
Street Smart got a chance, took it.
3 months later, the best player on the pitch was Kudos, because he held the ball up and he engaged our defenders and took them out of their positions and panicked Miles Lewis-Skelly. Yeah, we had a lot of the ball. Yeah, we had a few chances, but when it came to them holding the ball up and them getting a chance and passing the ball, like I said, soaking up the pressure, they did it quite comfortably. Bournemouth, they play with traditional number 9 in Evan Nilsson, who could hold the ball up. What happened? Went a goal down, no panic, 2 set pieces, but Evan Nilsson engaged our defenders. You know what I mean? They could pass the ball. They got players who can pass, and that's what's happened a lot. It happened a lot. Villa 2-0 down. Yeah, so what? We'll get our chances. You know what I mean?
That's it.
That was the most annoying draw of all of them.
And this is the thing, depending on what players come in, you're not going to see a lot different. You're not going to see a lot different from next season, because he's had the opportunities to change things. He's had the opportunities in certain games to change tactics and change things up, and he won't do it. He won't do it, and this is the thing that's worrying. And when you question it, people say, yeah, but look where we were and look where we were. But it's not about that now. It's about where we are now. Where we are now, where we haven't won a trophy. And you either have to look at, you can't rely on recruitment alone. You can bring you can bring in the best players into your football club. But if you're playing a system that is not getting the best out of those players, and you've played the game, DG, as well, if you're playing a system where you're not getting the best out of them players, those players then suddenly look ordinary.
It's like buying the best ingredients from a supermarket and not knowing how to cut onions or something. It don't really matter, does it? What you got? You can buy the best ingredients in the world to bake a pie, but if you ain't got a clue how to mix them together, you're going to burn the cake. That's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth. And unfortunately, I hear what the fans are saying, and you hear like the different channels, and they're all getting excited about this player coming in and that player coming in. And yeah, I'd rather them be at Arsenal Football Club than anywhere else. But what I'm trying to say is this manager has to look in the mirror and think and ask himself questions where he went wrong. Facts.
Where can I improve as a manager? What can I give these players to take me to the next level? And if he's not doing that, it doesn't matter who you bring into the football club, you'll see the same style of play, and that style of play is not going to win us trophies.
Facts. I can't disagree with that. I want to ask you lot of this, and I don't know how you phrase it. Yeah, I just feel if we want to be a team that wins battles but not necessarily wars, what I mean by that is battering City, battering Real Madrid, finishing second, getting to some semi-finals. I'm not necessarily happy with that. Obviously, we went out the FA Cup on penalties. I genuinely think we have enough. Obviously, all 3 of us here and everyone in the chat wants to go to the next level. I say that to say this: how much, to a degree, do we have to accept footballers for what they are? You lot all know I love Martinelli, but 2022-23 season was a long time ago. I'm not necessarily saying sell him, but you're not getting the numbers for whatever reason. Saka's the only one we can bet on. So do we make you like a squad player? And the various different examples, like how much of a case is it of we need to accept certain players for what they are and kind of upgrade on them?
We can't, DJ, we can't. You've got to remember, if you're a big club, you're a big club, everyone's for sale. In football, one thing that's the truest thing about football is money rules and everyone's got their price. even the best players, whether we like it or not, clubs are gonna, tempt Saka. They are going to tempt Martinelli. They are going to tempt Gabriel, and they are going to tempt Saliba. What we've noticed at Arsenal is that Arsenal need to freshen it up. You've got to remember that quite a lot of these players have played together for the last 4 or 5 seasons. Where quite a lot, few of them were being off form. We've got to freshen up. We've got to freshen up our left-hand side. We've got to get a proper left back, because Marlon Skelly, as well as he played, he's only just started his career. There's going to be second season syndrome. May not be, but 9 out of 10 times there's second season syndrome with players who just come through the ranks. We don't know what's happening with Wanyeri. Is he going to be given more chances? We don't know that. But one thing we do need, whether we like it or not, is we have to compete all 4 fronts, because the memo from all the fans, regardless of how you think about the manager, is we need success. A lot of Arsenal fans would prefer if we won the Champions League and the league.
So is silverware non-negotiable, sir, to cut you as well, Kenny, as you said?
Silverware is non-negotiable, but I think the consensus opinion is if we do have a day out at Wembley, i.e. the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and there's a field goal factor, I think some fans will have to grit their teeth and say, yeah, let's give them more time. So, but in order for Arsenal to do that, they have to freshen it up.
Yeah.
It's no good saying, well, these guys got their limitations. No, you can't. You didn't have any. You're basically advocating carrying players.
Already? No, I'm not advocating carrying players. I just feel
it comes across like that, because if you say,
for me, it's like, how much we're going to start saying Martinelli's going to be back? Let's just upgrade him.
But what we're saying is that, that Martinelli has reached his cycle as a left winger. Let's get someone better than him. I
remember in Martinelli's greatest season, Kenny. Remember we tried to get Mudryk as well.
Clearly,
I must know that Martinelli can't go where we need to.
The thing is, we are questioning a player with his talent. Whether we should sort of freshen it up or not has to reflect on the manager. Because I know for a fact Martinelli under a different manager, you wouldn't be seeing the same player that you're seeing now. And this is what people don't want to understand, and they don't want to realise. If you put Martinelli under Arne Slot, right, or if you put Martinelli with Luis Enrique, or if you put Martinelli with another manager, you wouldn't see the same Martinelli. You'll be seeing you'll be seeing the Martinelli that we saw 3 seasons ago. And this is why it all comes back to how he's being coached and how he's being managed.
How much is that on him as well, DJB? Like, how much is that on Martinelli individually as well?
It could be that he's stale, and it could be a lot of players are getting stale at the club. This is what I'm trying to say. It could be that he's kind of had enough with the rigid tactics and basically not winning anything. Because I'll revert back to when people dismiss cups, not only for the fans but for the players as well. If the players get these players now have backed this manager since they signed,
backing him,
right? And they're still backing him. They're still behind him, right? But that'll only last for so long. When the players haven't won a trophy, it doesn't feel them. They're going to work and getting nothing out of it. They need to win a trophy to get the taste, to find out what it's like, to actually get that feel-good factor back amongst the group. And we've been starved of that. So not only does the fans want success, but the players need it as well, because they've not had that. They're turning out every game, and they're playing. They're giving their all for this football manager. They're getting injured. They're coming back from injury. Right. They're doing everything the managers ask them to do. So eventually, that will only last for so long if they're not getting their hands on a trophy. And people say, yeah, but a Carabao Cup's no good. We're looking at it from a fan's point of view. Look at it from a player's point of view. You've got to start somewhere. Win a Carabao Cup, then win the FA Cup. You've got to start somewhere. These players don't know. Some of these players don't know what it's like to go to Wembley and win a cup. They haven't got a clue. Saliba's never won an FA Cup. Saliba's never won a Carabao Cup.
Saka was on the bench last FA Cup.
The only player at that football club that has had success under this manager was Kieran Tierney, and he's off to Celtic on a free. And we had Saka on the bench. So tell me a player in that squad that's had success at this football club and knows what it's like to go a day out at Wembley, getting off at the coach and seeing the towers and the Arc and going out onto the pitch with their suits and everything else. You tell me a player that's experienced that. There isn't one. We need it. We have to have success, and if it means sacrificing and selling players that we're carrying, then so be it. Or the next stop is that you freshen it up with a new coach, with a new manager.
No, I hear that. I can't disagree with that. I can understand why people back Arteta. I do think there's sackable offences, 100%. I feel this season everyone needs to deliver. Do you not feel like the goalposts will move though for Mikel Arteta? Because obviously we haven't won a trophy. We've seen everyone else win it. People do say, rightly so, a trophy is a trophy. But if we go and flip it to next season and we don't win the Premier League, the Champions League, and we win the FA Cup or a League Cup, do you feel that's enough to get people off his back? Or
what he'll do is give him more time, because there's nothing like and it will actually confuse a few people who have reservations about the manager. Look at what we're having down the road. You know, they've had a wretched season, but they've won one of the biggest trophies in Europe.
I saw that with my own eyes.
They got into the Champions League. Well, yeah, you were working that day.
Yeah, horrible, bro.
Yeah, you're working that day. And what's the situation is that they got Champions League football, albeit through the back door. So they got what they wanted in Champions League football. They've won a major trophy for the first time in 70 years, and they got the parade. And they lost 4-1 against Brighton for last game of the season, but they got the glory.
They're still drunk. They don't care about it.
They're great. One of the greatest ever captains, Gianni Blanchard, always said the game's about glory. So I think that Mikel would get a reprieve if he brought through the FA Cup and the League Cup, because of the scenes we saw with the parade and the football factor. And fans will, whatever you feel about the manager, me and DJB will go to Wembley. And we will have the greatest time of our life.
As you should. That's what fans want to do.
And that's the thing. We will have the greatest time of our life. And then people ask us, are you going to give him more time? And if our reservations will still be there, but we think, you know what? As I said before, people will give us more reasons to give him more time than for us to say no, it's over. You know, you can't exactly do a Wenger like we did in 2017. Said, well, you won his trophy, now go away. Go and rest.
And the reason he'll get more time is because then you can start saying, oh, well, yeah, but look what he's done. And, you know, we finished runners up. And now we've won a trophy. And now we're doing this. And now we're doing that. It will buy him more time. As I said, my reservations will still be the same. I think long-term winning the big stuff, I think, you know, that's another story. But it will give him more time. And as Kenny said, it'd be a day out. We need it as a football club. The fans need it, and then players need it. They need to taste success with this football team. It's too long now, and
fact,
you know, it is worrying. It really is worrying at the moment.
Let me ask another question then. Obviously, like, yeah, if you win silverware, you'd be all right. I think everybody could probably understand that. I know the goalposts will move until Mikel Arteta wins a Premier Champs, but had we have, I don't want to say taken the cups more seriously since we won the FA Cup, had we have picked up some of those trophies and still ended up here, I think there'd be less pressure, quote unquote, to deliver. What if we have another season like this year? Obviously, forget all the injuries and stuff. If we just focus on, we finished second, there's 2 semi-finals, we've gone out of the FA Cup on penalties. Assuming that happened, God forbid, next season, do you think Arteta gets sacked, or do you think it's more of the same when he stays?
I think he has to. I don't think he's got an option, because I don't know any other manager with a big club. Let's say we're a year on and we're in exactly the same situation. I don't know any other manager at a big club that would have had the time this guy's had. I don't see it. I don't see it Inter Milan. I don't see Real Madrid doing it. I don't see Liverpool doing it. I don't even see, do you know what I mean, Man United doing it. So for me, if he doesn't win next season, that has to be the final curtain. That has to be the final curtain for him. It's got to be. And if he was any sort of manager really, or any sort of man, he would turn around and go, look, I've done all what I can. It's been a blast. I've tried everything. We've had some great times at Arsenal. I've got them back competing. But unfortunately, it's time for me to go. I've not been able to deliver what the club needs. And that's what he should be doing. But unfortunately, this man will never, ever do that. So then you're looking at the owners. I mean, I'm saying don't leave it till this time next year if we're not winning anything. I'm talking about if we're 6-9 points off the top of the league come Christmas. Look at his situation.
I mean, he's going to have to, isn't it? There's going to be a lot of pressure.
If you're 9 points behind a team like Liverpool come Christmas Day, you're pretty much writing off the check. You're pretty much writing off the Premiership then. You know, and you got to remember, again, there's certain fans that ain't going to like it, but this manager has been backed. He's had pretty much the whole say of the football club, of who comes in, signings, the money, everything he's wanted, he's had. Huge salary. Yeah, huge salary. All the money he's wanted for signings. What signings he wants, what players he wants to keep, what players he wants to send out on loan. He's had no real challenges whatsoever. So there's no excuses now. If he hasn't won anything next season, then we have to be looking. But as I said, I'd be looking to see what the situation is come Christmas.
Do you lot feel much, before I ask you a lot about this question on the screen, yeah, obviously I don't think you can just blame the Cronkies. I can't really say they're not ambitious, but I don't necessarily think they're ambitious. And I'm not saying this as a reason to keep Arteta. But one, I do feel I do think Arteta could have won stuff regardless of who the owners are. But I don't know if much changes if Arteta goes. Whoever comes in, I feel like they'll be crippled. Do you feel like the Cronkies have taken their foot off the gas and been a lot less proactive since we got in the champs?
No, I haven't. I've got to refute what RM says, and I second what DJB says.
Wait, let me read it out first, Kenny. Then, man, wanted Mudrik, but go on. You're not gone.
Benjamin Spence came out with some really a brilliant quote, a brilliant
pork chops. Get ready.
Question and a brilliant point.
Which one?
The one about context. You know, we're all looking at the hypotheticals. We're all looking at the probables for next year. Well, I do think that I've heard one person ask me a question. They said, if Arsenal finish 94 points and they finish a point behind the leaders, be it Liverpool, Man City, would you? That they are probably going to say, well, he got close again with his full team, and they may ask for more chances. Let's not forget there were people in the football club who were, like I said, absolutely aghast at the thought of Liverpool winning the league, forgetting that Liverpool got world-class players, probably more than us. We haven't got any world-class players. Liverpool have got world-class.
We got world-class players, Kenny, man. We got two. We got three.
Can you name me one?
Saka, Saliba, Declan Rice. Come on, Kenny, man.
Not yet world-class.
How are they not world? How is them three not world-class?
They're not yet world-class because for the reasons that they haven't won it. To be world-class, you're in a small group. World-class players win trophies, big trophies.
But it's a team sport, man.
Salah and Alexander-Arnold have won the Champions League and two league titles.
So is Joe Gomez better than Saliba because he's won the champs?
No.
Come on, Kenny, man.
That's not back to Gomez.
You call them both for football. I hear what you're saying. You're not wrong, but come on.
No.
Come on, Kenny.
Alexander-Arnold is wanted by Real Madrid because they see him as a world-class operator. There's evidence that he can be considered to be a world-class right-back from an attacking point of view, defensively very poor. Van Dijk is seen by many as a world-class centre-back. Salah is world-class. So
then where would you stand with Harry Kane? Because then by that metric, he's only world-class this year, Kenny, which Harvey put right.
Harry Kane, you some people might say Harry Kane because he does a very new job very well. and he's managed to translate that to international football, may put him in that category. But this is my category. And I say that Saka is not yet world class.
So was Harry Kane world class to you prior to this year?
That you put him in the category of going to bees.
Oh, come on. I hear you, Kenny, but come on. How is Rice or Saka and Saliba not world class?
Salah are world class.
I'll give you something to think.
But they're all top 5 in their position.
You know what I do, DG? I'll give you something to think about, right? Because my categorisation of world class, I think this term world class gets used very, very easily.
100%.
Right. All I'll say to that is, go and watch clips of Andre Pirlo. Go and watch clips of Paolo Maldini. Go and watch clips of Zidane. Go and watch your Maradona. Go and watch your Johan Cruyff. And then ask yourself, is Saka or Saliba and men like this and Rice in that category? Go and watch Prime Ronaldo. Go and watch Prime Ronaldo.
I hear you when you go down that angle. When
you go down that angle, ask yourself, would you put our players in with that category? And that I've just named 7. I can even name more than that.
I hear that, but in the modern day, are these not some of the best
no such thing as modern day. We use world class loosely, and I do on the back end of what Kenny says. To be world class, you have to be with the big boys, getting big trophies on a consistent basis. And if you can't do that, then unfortunately, you're always just going to be hovering around that world class. But we hear it all the time. I'm hearing Jude Bellingham's world class. To me, Jude Bellingham's a very, very good midfield player, but he's overrated. He's not world class. Declan Rice is a fantastic midfield player, but when I look at people like Zidane and Pirlo and people like that,
well, come on, he's not blessed technically as them, man. It's
there you go then. So how can you put him in the world class bracket? So until I agree with
what you lot are saying. I'm just
but it's not about modern. Football hasn't changed over the years, whether it's modern day or the olden days. The principle of the game is still the same. The ball is on the grass. You score in one, and you keep it at the other end. What you do in between is still pretty much the same. So
say there was no trophies in football. If there was no trophies in football, trophies never existed then, and we're just talking about people playing. The guys I said are really not well class.
Are you a Labour politician who basically says that don't give the winners any
I'm
just asking because I agree with what you're saying, but to a degree, football is football, man.
But
throw them a ball and play.
Since your Zidanes, since your Zidanes and your Pirlos and men like this, there hasn't been anyone that has gone. I have gone. Whoa, has he done that? Has he done? Oh my God, where's that coming from? No. World class these days is thrown out far too.
It's thrown in this day and age. It's thrown around very, very loosely. But if you were to look at the modern day top 5 positions, Saka's one of the top 5. Saliba's one of the top 5. Rice is one of the top 5. Kenny said you have to win stuff. It's shameless. Did Rice not help West Ham win their first European competition of my lifetime?
Yeah. And Rice, but there you go.
If I be shameless,
but if you know,
all I know is this manager ain't world class. Because why ain't teams like Inter, why ain't Milan coming in for him like they're coming in for Fabregas?
When you talk about world class players, did you hear me say Jordan Henderson's world class? You never heard me say that, did you?
No,
but you're talking about trophies. So by that logic, Henderson is held in higher regard than Steve. You can't have your cake and eat it, Kenny, man.
No, but at the end of the day, you cannot say. Are you trying to tell me that Salah is not world class?
I didn't tell you Salah's not world class. You try to tell me. You still haven't answered if Harry Kane, if you only call him world class now because he's won a trophy.
He's not. Oh, Harry Kane is probably just outside that.
No,
I'll tell you one thing. Salah is world class.
100%.
Take it away from him.
People might not like his.
I'll tell you one. I'll give you another footballing fact.
100%.
I'm going to give you another footballing fact. And I said, I hope it balls your piss in the chat. Right? And I hope it balls your piss in the chat.
You're getting Kenny started, man.
Yaya Toure is levels above Kevin De Bruyne. Now go away. Think about it, man.
I agree. I agree.
And let's have it.
I don't think that's a mad shout.
I would still take Kevin De Bruyne at Arsenal on a year's free, though.
We could have had Yaya Toure, mate.
I would have Kevin De Bruyne on a year's free if he's a free agent. Definitely.
Come on, chat. Do your worst. I'm ready for you.
You got chat. You got him started, man.
Gabriel is world class. Here we go. Hey. It's all coming out now.
Gabriel,
Go and watch the players I've just mentioned. Yeah. Go and watch them, and then ask yourself, Go and watch Dennis Bergkamp, and then say who's worth world class.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is that back to the point that you raised earlier. There's a misconception. I was talking to Christian yesterday on Dan's show. Very good show. It was a good show until he came on. Don't worry, he knows I'll wind him up. He knows he's going to give me stick anyway for saying that. I love the girl.
I love Dan. Apparently,
the gal's a madman, but I love him.
Yeah, but one thing I would say is that all these people are making out have these misconceptions about the Cronkies and the support they're giving Arteta. Well, I beg to differ. Arteta's had every player that he's wanted.
I'm going to find a comment that might be wrong, Kenny.
Let me hear me out, and if you don't agree with me, then obviously challenge me. He got Declan Rice. We broke our transfer record on Declan Rice. Over 100 million shots for Declan Rice, a player that he was coveting all the way back to that Boxing Day match when he played for West Ham, where Declan Rice was talking about how well drilled we were.
Is that the one Odegaard swapped shirts with him?
Yeah,
went all mad.
He got he got Havertz, which is basically like an acquired taste, but he got the player he wanted. The reason why he didn't get Mudryk is because Chelsea offered him more salary than he wanted. The reason why he didn't get Caicedo is because Brighton wouldn't sell.
But then he didn't get everything he wanted, Kenny.
No, but that's not to do with Arsenal or the Cronkies. It's just that it was salary, and Brighton wouldn't sell, and there was a little inkling that Caicedo wanted to come to, like I said, wanted to go to Chelsea, but the money was provided, and there was money available for him to get all his targets.
He's definitely spunked them, yes.
He wanted Zinchenko because he wanted any evidence, and he wanted Jesus.
Yeah, give me any evidence of a player that Mikel Arteta wanted and he didn't have, because I haven't seen any evidence of anything.
He also wanted Fabio Vieira when we could have signed Vitinha.
He's got everything he's wanted from the board.
Make sense.
He's had the board off, and all the Cronkies are saying he's never got what he wanted when everything he's wanted he's got. We assume that his long-term target Sesko is going to come to the club because it's Mikel's preference over Gyokeres.
It's really funny though, Kenny, as well though, and you've probably noticed as well. Isn't it funny that the board hardly never got mentioned when we were beating Real Madrid, and everyone was booking their ticket to the final because we beat PSG in the earlier in the season. No one was talking about the Cronkies when this man was finishing runners-up 2 points behind Man City last season. No one was mentioning the Cronkies when we beat Man City 5-1. Suddenly now we've gone another season under this manager without a trophy, and suddenly everyone's now mentioning the owners. The only thing I'm disappointed with the owners is that they're letting this manager carry on for another season unsuccessful.
Another thing, RM. Was there any evidence of Rafinha wanting to come to Arsenal? If there's any evidence, can you please show it to me?
To be fair, we were third choice. He wanted Barca, then Chelsea, and then us. I remember David
and where did I say it was Arteta's fault? I never said it's Arteta's fault. I said, if you listen properly, that everything he's asked for, he has got. And the money's been provided for the players he wanted. Not once I ever say it was his fault that it didn't come. How can I blame Arteta when Brighton refused to sell? That's not Arteta's fault. How can I blame Arteta when Mudryk was offered more money, but his first preference was Arsenal? I can't blame the manager for that. I can't blame the manager for Rafinha preferring to go to Barcelona. I mean, you're doing in a gal there, mate. You listen to. They're listening to
snippets, Kenny. They listen to snippets.
Yeah.
I think our problem is just in the ability to pivot, which I hope
then their ears prick up. If you're not mentioning anything like that, then it's like, oh, it's okay, it's fine what you're saying. Come on, let's keep it real for the sake of the football club going forward. If you really love Arsenal Football Club, you just have to look at the facts. And the facts of the matter is, he hasn't won anything. He's missed out on every single opportunity that we have been in. And the buck stops at the manager. He picks the team, he sets the tactics, he lays the foundations, and he hasn't won anything. So get your Arteta FC off, take your Arteta FC football shirt off, and put your Arsenal Football Club shirt on. And then we might start winning something.
I must admit, I do think that's true. I think there's too many people committed to hating Arteta. There's too many people that are quick to love the guy. And when we win, like have a magic result against Real Madrid, by all means, praise the manager. But it's all quick to, it's just quick to just, you lot didn't believe in the manager. Like, just to support the club. That's where I agree. Like people don't support the club.
Get the club supported, exactly. And if you want the good for the club, you've got to listen to the other side of the coin and the other side of the. So the thing is, right. The bottom line is that the players we've signed, all right, have not been good enough. Apart from 5, maybe 6, the rest of them have not been good enough to play for the Arsenal Football Club. Trossard weren't really good enough. To me, he's a brilliant squad player, come off the bench. 90 minutes, he's proven on a regular basis. And I'm not talking about a one-off game. I'm talking about a regular basis. Not good enough.
But that's what I was saying, DJB, about like accepting players for what they are. Like you said with Trossard, I think Trossard as a rotationary option, super sub, he's great. But we're trying to make you someone that can play for 30 plus games. You're obviously not going to deliver. And that, I love Martinelli, but that's extended to him. That's what I mean by, do we accept players for what they are? Stop trying to make squad players regulars and just upgrade on them. And naturally we get our depth like that. That's what I was kind of referring to.
If you're serious football club, because let's look at this situation, right? And Kenny will probably agree with me here, right? Going into next season, you've not only got the Premiership to worry about where teams have strengthened, like Liverpool's, your Man United's even. Come on, finishing 15th, 16th, everyone mocking them, and yet here they are, Cunha, first week into the transfer, done. We've been linked with Zubimendi for half a year, and giving the fans a boost. First week, why haven't we announced that? First week of the transfer window, this guy was apparently having a medical last week.
Yeah, should we be concerned about the lack of apparent business from us and everybody else making moves?
How I've got to look at it like this, right? If you've been linked with a player for 6 months and we're hearing done deal, definitely signing, Zubimendi over the line, streams lighting up all over YouTube saying that we've got this guy, 3-year deal, 4-year deal. And then last week you're saying, he's having a medical. Surely in the first week of the window, when you've had 6 months, you go, when the fans haven't won a trophy, when the club hasn't won a trophy to give us a lift, you'll turn around and go, there he goes, shirt up, pictures on the stadium, Zubimendi, job done. Right, let's move on to the next one.
That way as well.
Instead of that, we've been linked with this guy for 6 months, and he's gassing up Real Madrid and their manager. Make it make sense.
You know what it is, DJB, is that
that's a fair point.
I think the thing with us football fans is we've seen Brentford get Carragher, and that's a done deal. We think that Wirtz is a done deal. We think Frimpong's a done deal, and Liverpool become very aggressive with their signings. Man City have been aggressive since January. I think with Arsenal Football Club, unfortunately, I don't know why, but it always seems to take time. Me personally, I'm still convinced, until I know otherwise, that Zubimendi is going to be our player. I hope Zubimendi is if that's what the club wants. Do I have reservations? Yay and nay.
Let us know.
We do need a number. We do need to improve in midfield. But the thing with Arsenal is that you have to think that is Zubimendi trying to get better terms for himself from Arsenal? Well, you never know with football. You never know, because the other day with Arsenal,
he should be trying to.
Let's not forget the Declan Rice thing. We all knew was coming, but it took a long time for it to come in. We didn't know. 1 minute it was 150 million, then it was 110, and it became 105. So we just don't know with Arsenal. The same with the situation with our long-term targets in Sesko and Gyokeres is, pushed himself into the reckoning because of his form with, in the
Can't ignore it.
Portuguese La Liga. However, that's only become a reality since Berta's come to the club. You know what I mean?
Should we be calm then, Kenny? Because apparently July the 1st is when it could be accounted for. Apparently, that's what Real Sociedad, they want to be a bit calm with it.
I don't know. You just never know with Arsenal. Everything moves like milk.
You really don't.
Everything moves like milk. We know the club. The only thing we know factually is that the club are in for these players. RM said I was conflating things because
RM, you're getting him started, man.
But I have to talk to RM because Brighton said no, and because Mudryk, went for more money. That Arteta didn't get what he wanted. Getting what you want isn't exactly getting a player. It's the board agreeing to put the money up. That is as good as getting what you want. And then it depends on the player. And 9 out of 10 times, whenever Mikel Arteta has gone in for a player, 9 out of 10 times the board have provided the money. They have. You can't deny RM that the money was provided for Casado. Brighton kept on saying we need him for another season. You know the facts. You've got a TV. You've got a radio. You saw it. It's not me making it up. The same with Mudryk. I didn't make this up. The money was there.
Could you be devil's advocate, Kenny, and say, then what's the case for January? He did ask for forward.
Yeah, but it's not as if I woke up one day and just thought, let me make something up so I can come on DG's show with my mate DJB. I deal with facts.
Never.
I deal with facts. Yeah. I don't try and interpret facts. I'm interested in facts. I don't care about.
Let's spin it another way then on RM then, because I just read his comments there. Do you honestly think the owners employ people on £15 million a year and a sporting director with all their experience? Do you honestly think it's the owners who go out and buy these players? It's not. The owners work off of the people they employ. Who do you want at the club? Yeah, I'll leave it up to you. That's what I employ you for. That's why I'm giving you 50. That's why you're the manager.
That is how the Cronkies operate.
Don't ask me. I'm giving you the money. I'll give you the money. But you're asking me about players is like asking me how to build a house. Do you know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is these people, the manager does have say who comes into the football club. More so, Mikel Arteta. Why do you think Edu's not hung around? Do you know what I mean? It's like...
He couldn't get Berta, bro.
This guy, and this is what worries me with Berta. See, I'm starting to worry a little bit about Berta because I thought he was going to come in to put a stop to all this mess that Arsenal's done previously. I thought all this hanging around, not getting players over the line, negotiating, then it falls through. I thought this Berta was coming in to actually put a stop to all that nonsense and go, right, this is what we're doing. Yeah, this is who we're signing. Zubimendi, you've been linked with for 6 months. You've been linked with this player before I came to the football club.
Get it done.
Get it done. Get it announced. Let's move on to the next one. But no, we're still back to square one, which asks the question, is Arteta still pulling the reins? Is he still pulling the reins? Is he still the main man that they don't want to upset in these signings? Is he still the one saying, I want this and I want that and I want this and I want that? Because if that's happening, then you're getting confrontation. You're getting a, you know what I mean? You're not moving. You're not deciding on anything. So, yeah, I understand where we're saying about the Cronkies, but it ain't the owners that buy the players. They employ the people to do that for them.
Can't disagree with that. Then how do you look at Berta though? Because then to a degree, I agree with what you said, DJB. I wanted him to come in and change things. When I look at it from a working point of view, I don't know how much one man can change things or one man can change things in a matter of months. But then I look at it, as good as your reputation is, and I hope you deliver. And as much as I might want to see signings right now, the window's not closed. How much sympathy can you give Berta if it goes left? Because you took the job. So you must have known to a degree how the Cronkies work and the whole structure in the same ways with Arteta. When he first got the role, okay, maybe he didn't know the Cronkies wouldn't back him, quote unquote, like the chat saying. But then you've clearly been here long enough, signed a new deal. So you clearly believe, regardless of the context, is you can achieve whatever you set out to. So, like, yeah, where would you be with that, D?
It's
difficult one.
Look, I mean, I just read in the chat. I mean, what really annoys me, right, is
chat, man, you lot stop.
Yeah, no. Listen, everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's not a problem, right? But what gets me is I understand where people are coming from about the Cronkies, and it's really easy to blame the owners. Listen, I'm no fan of the Cronkies. I think that there's a lot of things that they can do, you know, and move the club on. I don't think they've been active enough in certain areas. But what you cannot deny is since this man's been in charge of the football club, he's had more money than any other football manager at the football club. He had more money than Wenger and everyone. Do you know what I mean? And what I'm trying to say is the signings that have been made under Edu and Arteta's reign have not been good enough long term for this football club. Now, you can blame the Cronkies now it's gone all wrong. But where was you blaming the Cronkies when, you know, Jesus was being signed, Zinchenko was being signed, all these Fabio Vieiras, Pablo Maris? Do you know what I mean? Where was all the blame then? So you do have to look at it that money's been wasted. Players have been the wrong players have been signed at the football club. The money's been there. We've had the money. But where I lie on Berta, I wanted Berta to come in and really make a stand. And his job is not just for signing players. He's got contracts to sort out as well, you know? I mean, we've still got players on like crazy numbers in the wages as well. I mean, you got Kai Havertz on 280 grand a week. You got Jesus injured till January, 250k plus a week. Do you know what I mean? So these are the other things that the sporting director's got to look at, not just the signings. He's got to look at the whole thing. He's got to look at what players have got to go out the door, because we do need to release. We do need to release players to bring players in. So, yeah, look, listen. For me, I want Berta to come in and really, really make a stand and put his mark on it, because you know. He probably needs help, Arteta. You got to remember,
he needs help.
When we brought this manager in, he had no managerial experience.
He needs to be able to just focus on football. Obviously, he has to have a hand in recruitment.
You've said it. This is what I want. I want him to focus with the matter what he wants.
We're trying to make him do the Wenger stuff. Just be a manager
and let Berta deal with all the signings and let Berta deal with all of that side of the things. Get Arteta doing matters on the pitch, you know. So yeah, as I said, I'm not there yet where I'm sort of leaning towards the Cronkies, because I can only go by what I've seen, and the Cronkies have put up the money. The Cronkies have given him contracts, huge contracts. And if you're going to moan about the Cronkies not giving up the money, then why is this man that's won nothing on £15 million a year?
Fair play, because you're getting them Champions League.
He's paying your manager £15 million a year. So who's won nothing. So there you go.
Are we panicking though? Because it is only the 4th of June though, man. Like it's a long way to go tomorrow.
I mean, there's a little bit of panic, but me and Kenny know how Arsenal operate. We know their past history.
Yeah.
And last summer, if anyone
we've seen it before. We've seen June go into July. I've had all this before. Oh, don't panic. It's only the second week of the window. Then suddenly it's the 2nd of July. Then it's the end of July. Then it's the beginning of August. And then it's like, yo, hang on, we kick off in 2 weeks' time and we still ain't made a signing. The biggest problem biggest problem with me is Sesko, we was linked with last season. And yet we're dragging our heels again this season. And yet we've been linked with him over a year. Zubimendi was a done deal and everything else, and we still haven't announced him.
Yeah, but DJB, in terms of Sesko, the Sesko deal is a long-term target, and there were definitely discussions last year. But what's happening is the player, after speaking to Mikel Arteta, we can only assume, because what happened, we may assume that it's because of the, assurances over starting berths in the team. We can only assume it could be maybe personal terms, although I do think they agreed. But one thing is factual, is that the guy agreed to spend another year in Germany, and that's the thing. But at the end of the day, when people say, why didn't we get our striker? Well, it seems that the reason why we didn't get a striker because the striker that Mikel identified and spoke to and probably agreed for personal terms hasn't come to the cover yet.
That's why I'm happy with Burr, because there's an ability to pivot. You've got Gyokeres.
I've seen no evidence of any other name being mentioned other than Sesko. Again, the reason why I say evidence is that, of course, it's not like primary sources, but I've never seen Arsenal deny it, that any interest in Sesko. I've never said them, well, no. I haven't heard Mikel deny it.
No.
And the fact that they've allowed Sky Sports, I'm not talking about The Athletic and Oisting or Fabrizio, who's just come out of nowhere. I'm talking about Carve Solico and Dharma Chef, experienced, respected journalists who've basically got the basically been like guard dogs biting on this Sesko thing and not letting go, like they got a locked jaw. I haven't seen any evidence. The Gyokeres thing has only been mused since Bert's come to the club.
True.
Yeah, no, Sesko's been the number one target for this manager for a long, long time. I agree with Kenny. And Gyokeres has only come to the light since Bert has walked in the door. But what I'm saying is, what worries me is that we're putting so much effort onto Sesko. And for me, he's not the player that's going to get us to the next level. He's another project. He's young. He may be good in a couple of years' time. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but is he really the player that we need to win us premierships and Champions League finals and Champions League?
But is Gyokeres necessarily?
I think 63 goals, 19 assists.
Crazy goals, 26. He's actually cheaper, 26, 27. He's cheaper than Sesko.
Well. Listen, what would you rather take a gamble on? I know.
Right now, Gyokeres, because I think I like Sesko. I like what he can become and all of that. But I think we're past. Not that we're past it, and I wouldn't cry. But Gyokeres is going against what we normally do right now. Mode, bring him.
If you look at the levels this guy is pumped out this season. If you look at the levels,
Kenny FC's coming out with some like.
Yeah, I know. If you look at the levels that have been pumped out this season from Gyokeres, you can only go by what you see. And we see the problem is we haven't got time to hang around for players that may become good.
Or we might, but our manager, man.
We need someone from day one to hit the ground running. We need someone that's banging in goals from day one.
But what if Sesko does that?
I'm not saying he might not, but
and it's got to be devil's advocate.
I think with Sesko, he isn't. It depends how Arteta's going to play him, though, isn't it?
I think with Sesko, I think with Gyokeres,
you need to change a lot. With Sesko, you need to change the way we play. We've got. I think
Sesko tells me Kai Havertz is going to be number one, and he's going to rotate.
With Gyokeres, you need to change the way we play. With Sesko, you can play pretty much the same, and that's what I'm worried about. Because what I referred to earlier in the stream, we need to change. Teams have found
give the fans a boost.
Teams have found us out. We need a different dimension, and Gyokeres will give us that.
Yeah, mate, you're right. But you know, Kenny FC and RM, they've actually redeemed themselves because they've made me think. Firstly, Kenny FC, don't be a pork chop and go, they're going to have a press conference to deny. No one has a press conference to deny, but questions be asked from people within the club, and they don't give an answer. Come on, behave. But one thing you did, mate, you did prick my. Basically, you pricked me with a holly and I've taken notice and I felt the pain, is when you talked about Gyokeres' 18 penalties. And RM, again, mentioned something that is very poignant, because me and the RM love a battle. We've been doing this for a few months now. He has
Everyone needs a villain, man.
Yeah, but he has mentioned the Portuguese league. And when Kenny AFC mentions the 18 penalties and RM mentions the Portuguese league, I have to listen. And it's not a dig at Gyokeres and a dig at his record, but I have to. The footballing part side of me, we're thinking, hang on here. We've been down this road before with players from La Liga, Darwin Núñez. Now, I'm not saying that Gyokeres is going to be like that, because Gyokeres has played in Brighton's academy, where there's videos of Benjamin White setting him up for the winner against one of the clubs, with Swansea or someone.
That could be another red flag. Brighton with the great scouting, he never made it.
Yeah, and then he played at Coventry. But when you look at the players that come from the Portuguese La Liga, they haven't transferred their goals totals into our league, which is
you ain't getting 18 penalties for us.
High velocity off the ball, but the way teams are playing, a slightly slower build-up. So in that respect, going from the Portuguese league to our league, obviously that does pose a bit of a risk, but you can't ignore the numbers. But what DJB says as well is the style of play as well. Are we going to update our style of play?
I think Sesko more. Yeah, DJB's right. I think Sesko's more kind of plug and play with the system. We have to change it a bit for Gyokeres.
Yeah, and Sesko is probably going to be like a refined Havertz, where we play Havertz, we're very quick on the counter attack. He's got quicker than Havertz. We like to play with a target man where he's taller than Havertz and bigger, and he's used to playing that.
We're going to see Havertz in that 10 and Sesko up front, in my opinion.
How we play Havertz in the false number 9, and how we try to operate him as an auxiliary centre forward. Well, Sesko can do all of that, and that's where I understand where Mikel's coming from a footballing point of view. Do I agree with it? Probably not, because obviously I would like, Isak, but that's not crap, is it?
No.
Yeah, man. I'd like Kelly Rowland as well, but yeah, can't have everything.
Now, whether that's down, whether that's down to the Cronkies, where we didn't go for Isak and offered any Nketiah $100,000 a week and gave him the 14 shirt, is that down to the Cronkies? Because Arteta apparently really rated Nketiah and thought that he was going to be our next Thierry Henry, hence the 14 shirt. So, I don't know. Was that down to the Cronkies?
I want Gyokeres, but I think people sleep on Sesko.
Listen,
I'd be over the moon
if you've only got a choice, I'm not saying that this guy is going to rip up the Premiership when he comes. But if that's the hand you're dealt with and you're given a choice, do you have someone that scored 63 goals and a proven goal scorer that by the way, learnt his trade, that was also scoring goals in the Championship before he went to Portugal, in a tough league against tough defenders, no VAR that you get booted all over the place in, right? And he was still scoring goals, right? Or do you risk a potential striker?
Or do you get both?
Yeah, but
I'm dreaming, of course.
That's another thing. See, I personally think we're only going to get 2, maybe 3 signings this season. I think we're going to get that's all we're at. And I think we need more of a creative. We need pressure on Odegaard. We need another number 10.
I think people are sleeping on the left-hand side as well.
We need to sort out the left-hand side. We need a proper left back. We need Skelly in his right position, which is midfield, which will make things happen, right? And I think we need a really baller in midfield. We need a real good attacking midfield player, because Odegaard's got a free pass. He can stink the place out week in and week out, and he knows there's no one behind him to push him.
He's lucky this year Havertz weren't fit, I'll be real.
Because he don't rate Wanyeri, obviously. There's something about Wanyeri's game he don't like. So Wanyeri ain't going to put the pressure on Odegaard. So we need a player in midfield that's going to step up and put pressure on Odegaard, because he can just turn up, play as he wants to play, go missing in big games, and he knows he's going to get the shirt next week. So I think it's not just about the striker. We need about 3 or 4 players.
We need a gunman up front, and we need to spread the goals around. But we also need, when we're spreading the goals around, people that we can rely upon. Like, we need someone that can do what Saka does on the left-hand side, or even 50%. And we need goals. We need goals from a striker. Why do you lot think, that apparently, I know how Arsenal drag things out, but why do you think, like, based on reports, apparently we've explored deals between Gyokeres and Sesko, and it's almost like we've somewhat done the framework for both the deals and haven't actually pulled the trigger in either direction?
PR. Because the reason why I'm saying it's not a criticism against Arsenal. I would do it if I was them as well. I'm not slagging the club off. I love this club. I understand, but when you watch football as long as I have, you understand the body. You don't understand the games that clubs play. You understand that, like I said, the hidden messages. And the fact is that the blue ribbon signing, and everyone talks about it, even fans who don't even support us. They talk about Arsenal need a striker. Arsenal needs a striker. Pundits, Arsenal need a striker. Arsenal fans, Arsenal need a striker. Well, the best way to tell the Arsenal public is, we've got deals in place for 2. So we either want to get one or other, and that will shut you guys up. Because that's all Arteta gets asked. That's all us who's,
and he's quite frustrated with that as well.
Say, if only you got a striker, you could have won the league by now.
Wouldn't have 14 draws.
You know what I mean? That's all basically it's striker. I mean, thanks to my good friends, Dan Potts and Albert.
Big up Dan.
I go to bed sometimes thinking about Gyokeres because they just basically bang that drum for the last year.
Yeah. The problem is as well, you have to look at it from the player's point of view, Gyokeres and Sesko. They've got agents. They also talk to other players. They know what other clubs are doing. They know the ambitions of other clubs. And players nowadays, they want to leave their options open. Who's
get as much money as you can.
Who's to say Liverpool ain't going to throw their hat in and go, well, hang on a minute, let's go after Gyokeres. Man United could go after Sesko, and vice versa. Real Madrid, Barcelona, all these people.
Linked with Atletico and Napoli and Paris Saint-Germain.
Now, I'm not being funny, but if you're a football player and you're an ambitious young player forward, wanting to make a name for yourself around Europe, around the world, you're going to be looking. You're going to be looking at Arsenal and going, right, okay, they've finished runners-up 3 years running. They've bashed out the Champions League. Yeah, they haven't won a major trophy. Liverpool, man's walked through the door. He's won the Premiership. Wirtz has gone there. Frimpon's gone there. Manchester United speaks for itself. And I know people are going to get mud Man United. Oh, yeah, but
it's still Man United, the biggest country.
Would you rather be Man United? No, it's not a case what I'd rather be. It's factual. And I've been watching football for many, many years. Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in the world, and they could be in Division 2 and they will still have a big pool of players because they're Manchester United. I've seen them relegated and still sign top players because they're Man United. It's a fact. So these players, right, they're going to look at Arsenal and go, well, actually, we'll see what happens. I hear
you with that, DJB.
Just because we're Arsenal Football Club, this is where a lot of the fans go wrong. Just because we're Arsenal Football Club, the Arsenal, a lot of fans think we've got this divine right to sign every single player in the planet and they'd want to come to us. No. Success brings players. And the fact of the matter is we haven't had any success. So players will keep their options open.
I hear you, DJB, but could you argue, like, I hear you, you're not wrong. Like, I actually agree with that. But in the same token, we flirted with success. If you're a proper gunman striker, like if you're Sesko, and I know the modern day strikers change, but if you're Sesko, you're an out and out number 9. Gyokeres, you're an out and out number 9. You're living in London, you're getting money. You've got some good players here. We've been flirting with success. We've got to the semi-finals. Okay. Do you not like? Are we not attractive as well? Maybe not like the Man United thing.
Of course, we're always going to be attractive. But let's reverse this, right? Take your Arsenal top off and your Arsenal head off, and you're Sesko, and you look at Arsenal, and then Liverpool coming for you, or Barcelona coming for you when you got
I'm going Barca.
Yeah,
Lewandowski's got 2 years left.
You said that with no hesitation at all, DJ.
Yeah. No. There's levels. Unfortunately, there's levels. I'm going to do that. Before you said that, D, I was going to say, if I was Sesko, I might come here, develop, do my thing, and then cut.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you said that, I'm going Barca, and without no hesitation at all.
Yeah.
So these players are no different. And this is what I'm trying to say. If we've got, when we do these deals or when we're going for these players, we have to be serious about it. We can't just flirt around. We can't go to Sesko's club and go, right, well, we'll pay you this much in 5 months, and we'll pay you the next lot in 6 months. When you've got Man United or potentially Barcelona and teams like this rocking up and going, there you go, there's all the money. You have to be serious. If you've got ambition as a big club, you've got to be a big club in the market.
100%. And that's one thing that I hate. Like, obviously, I'm not working on transfers. I understand it's dragged out, but it does. And I know our club have had a couple of occasions where we've signed players, but with us, it's always a dragged out thing. Like, I've seen articles come out where Sesko's uncle and girlfriend are talking. You don't really see that with any other players. And I must admit, as much as we're speaking about Sesko and Gyokeres, and they both have their pros and cons and whatnot, I am also at the point where just get me a striker. Like, just get me a striker. We'll consider it.
What about Alvarez?
That's all.
What's wrong with, where's Alvarez gone all of a sudden?
Yeah, you know what I mean? You should have got him last year, man. Are you going to leave sunny Spain for us?
This is what I'm saying. There's all these players out there that can do a job and that can play sort of like the Arteta's way, if you like. You know.
And I think too much is made of that, man. We need players that are not really with the system, or at least
there's all these players that we need. We also need. You know, go and get Eze. Not
that's very interesting. You know, the thing about it is that, in essence, Arsenal there's still other areas we need to work on. I'm not saying that to forsake a striker.
We've got a lot to do.
But the left-hand side, no one seems to talk about the left-hand side. You know, all we seem to be talking about is midfield and up top. But the left-hand side is still an issue for me. You know, how about, you know, we're going to definitely need cover for Saka. So at the end of the day,
we've got false depth defensively.
So there's still, and then as well, whether you're successful or not, you freshen it up. The top teams back in the day, it was always 2 in, 2 out. You just freshen up the squad.
Until recently, Pep was doing that all the time.
Yeah, and Arsenal, I think what Arsenal did last season in their transfer dealings, two things they did. A few things that they did. One of the things they did is that obviously they seem to be PSR concerns. Secondly, I think there seem to be if we can't get the player we want up top, then let's wait for him.
Let's keep the powder dry. I don't want to hear none of that no more.
And the third thing is that, you know, we've got, to all intents and purposes, especially people around the club, in the club, we got incredibly close to Man City, to the extent that a lot of fans thought we were in their boot toes. I thought that when we lost against Aston Villa, the game was up, that we weren't going to win the league and City were going to go on a run, and that it was close but yet too far. But the general consensus that I got the impression from was that Arsenal felt that, well, they didn't really need much because they were that close.
Complacent.
But one thing they didn't bank on, and a lot of people say injuries, I just say poor form. You know, one thing you can never deny, and a lot of people try to deny it, is that you can count on only a few fingers on one hand how many players actually were consistent last season and actually played to their true abilities.
The majority of them are the defensive players.
Yeah, I can't think of, if there was more than 3 players who played to the best of their capabilities. Can you name?
That's a bit harsh, Kenny. 3.
I would say so. I think.
Raya.
But hang on here.
Timber. Lewis Kelly.
Magalhaes
to the injury.
Hang on. You're just talking about the second half of the season. We didn't win
the
league.
No, I'm talking about the majority of the campaign.
I'm talking about the league. I'm not talking about the Champions League. I'm
talking about the whole thing.
That's
if you look at players that I feel pulled their weight.
If you look at the league, I would have over the large parts of the league, the only players for me that played to their best of their abilities consistently, week in, week out. I'm not talking about from the games of play. I'm just talking about from August to May. You have to say the goalkeeper.
That's one.
Absolutely brilliant. Gabriel, before he got injured, no
100%.
problems with performances. And
Timber,
yeah. And then I'm struggling after that.
Yeah.
Declan Rice played well in the championship rounds.
January onwards.
Declan Rice had a great season.
Yeah, Rice was 5-6 out of 10 for the first half of the season. Then
Partey probably has been most consistent. But other than that, on with Kenny, I'm struggling.
I'll throw Sack into that with his injury.
And it's facts. You can't win the league when players have not been performing on a regular basis. You know, we've had a lot of 5 and 6 out of 10s for most games for a lot of players.
Yeah. Going through the motions from Wolves' first game of the season.
And that's not good enough. And, you know, this is why you have to change things. You have to try and get the best out of the players you got. You have to, you know, when you see players turning out every week and they're putting stinkers in, you have to look, right, where can I change it? What can I do? What can I do that's different? You know?
It's a sad state of affairs, man.
But we there is a lot of players we need, and left-hand side is a massive problem. And I agree with Kenny. We need a left back. Although Skelly's done a good job, he's not a left back. He's been there by default. He got there through injuries because of Zinchenko and Calafiori. That's why Skelly was thrown in at left back. And then suddenly he's thought, oh, hang on a minute. He ain't bad at left back. I'll keep him there. Same as Ben White. He discovered Ben White as a right back by default, by injury. But all these players weren't bought for that position. See, I believe if we're struggling to get players over the line, I believe make the most of the resources you've got. So put Calafiori as a left back and develop him, which would be hard work, but make him a left back and develop him, and put Skelly in midfield as our attacking stroke midfield player. Because one thing that kid's good doing is carrying the ball when he's got the ball. He's good with players around him. He can see a pass. Put him in midfield. Let him ball out. Take the reins off him. Make him our Fatinia. Why are we isolating him at left back? We don't need to. We can save millions by putting him in midfield. And people are going to say, yeah, but he's too young. He's too raw. Well, you've got to start from somewhere. You know, you have to prove yourself as a good coach and turn him into a good player. Like Eddie Howe did to Joel Linton.
Is it fair to say, though, Arteta has shown elements of that? Because Rice is playing as A, obviously, you know, Ben White's gone over, Gabriel Magalhaes's development since he's obviously Are we being fair to Arteta?
You know what? Unfortunately, in football, it's the results. You can agree to disagree on Mikel Arteta. You can accept that standards have been raised in the league. We are a team to be.
We're in a different realm now. Like we need to win stuff so the things get harder.
You can say, right, but yeah, when people talk about clubs capable of winning the title, Arsenal in that conversation. When you talk about clubs that have got players who will
can compete, I don't know about getting over the line.
Arsenal definitely in that conversation. However, and people aren't going to like this. We had the same sort of conversations about the Poch's Tottenham. You look at. To
be fair, Arteta's won a trophy, though.
Yeah, all right, but we're not talking about those trophies. Let's just broaden it out and let's talk about Spurs' results from August 2015 up until about February 2018, and you compare Arsenal August 2028 up until May 2025. You'll probably say
very similar.
You'll probably say it's very similar, and you'll probably say in that period there was a period when Spurs had the biggest aggregate of points than any other club in the league. Arsenal probably in that same category.
There was a year they didn't lose at White Hart Lane as well.
But they are found wanted in the big games and didn't deliver silverware. So you can't look at those sort of parallels. But the situation is where I'm going with Arteta it's results. It's results, unfortunately.
It's getting over the line now, man. Winners, win, losers, explain. We're explaining too much.
That's where everyone's talking about it. Even Henry himself. Henry did slag off Arteta. He was asked a question and he said, look.
Oh, yeah. How do you lot feel about that? I completely forgot. Everybody's been, well, not everyone. People been getting onto the.
He answered it honestly. He answered it honestly, and he gets told that he's slagging off Arteta and all that. If he hadn't been in the cameras and you'd have asked him in a living room or in a pub somewhere, the same question, he probably would have slagged off Arteta.
It'd been a lot harsher, but I don't think he said anything wrong.
But I don't think he said anything wrong. He said facts. He said something that's factual.
Arsenal fans are precious. It's like another thing as well. I've got to pull up Jalen Spence because he's been like a chemistry experiment, creating all sorts of catalysts and creating bombs, letting bombs go off in the chat. But Jalen Spence, you seem to be obsessed, and correct me if I'm wrong, with second place. Like you seem to objected to the fact that how can you say that there were a lot of players who got 5 out of 10 when we finished second? We were second in spite of our form last season. We were second mainly because there was a lot of inconsistency behind us. City were inconsistent.
Yeah, it was in that weird place.
Forest
couldn't catch Liverpool, but was better than the rest.
Forest basically left their wallet in the lockers from about March onwards. That's when they left their wallet in the lockers, and that's why they didn't get top 4. So we were a comfortable second by default. But let's not forget, we finished. Liverpool won the league on the 27th of April with 15 points ahead of us. That's
and
a
took
fact.
their foot off the gas. Kenny.
Exactly.
15 points ahead of us, and the Liverpool team that were partying 3 or 4 games till the end of the season. You know, if they really wanted it. Look, the bottom line is, right, Jaden, is if you're happy with second place, and if you're happy of keep finishing runners up, and if you don't like the players being criticised for not being consistent enough, when I over the years have watched players come out consistently putting in 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 performances, i.e. Henry's, Bergkamp's, Merson's, Rocastle's, men like this, Liam Brady's, I can go back even further, 8, 9s out of 10. And the reason why they was giving 8, 9 out of 10, because at the end of the season, they had trophies. They didn't finish second. Second to these sort of players is unsuccessful. And there's a saying, right? No progress is made out of making excuses. So there you go.
It's the coldest bar I've heard, DJB. I can't lie. He's right. You know, at the end of the day, obviously the league starts in August. It ends in May. We do a lot of talking week to week. Yeah. Really just matters where you start and finish. Like the table doesn't tell the truth, but it doesn't lie. And we've done a lot of explaining. My thing is let's just get over the line now. We know what we need to do. Let's get over the line.
You have to. There's no, as I said, you know, there's no excuses now. There's no excuses. Can't blame can't keep blaming injuries. Can't keep blaming the Cronkies. Can't keep blaming this. Can't keep blaming that. The facts of the matter is, this football manager has had his players, his team, for 5 seasons, going into 6 seasons. He's had long enough with this group of players to win something. When there is evidence, I
disagree with that, to be fair.
Conte wins leagues with McTominay, Billing, Lukaku. Arnie walks through the door at Liverpool, first season, 1 signing, wins a Premiership. Yeah? Glasner, Crystal Palace. Mateta, no one would sign him a year ago. This man walks in, turns him into a beast of a signing, wins an FA Cup.
Yeah? United now.
Oh, but it takes time. It takes all this. It takes all that. Look, he's had the time. If it takes time, I think 5 years, 6 years is enough time.
That's where he should have picked up some domestic cups and maybe
there's no more excuses now. There's no more excuses now. You either support the team or you support the manager. You can't have both. And the club will always be bigger than the manager. And when the manager's had this team for 5, nearly 6 years, the same players, week in, week out, daily basis, training in the training camp, taking them on tours, pre-season friendlies, cup games, and he still can't get over the line, I'm sorry, you have to ask the questions.
I can't disagree with that. I can understand why people want to keep the guy. I don't think people can disagree with certain things where maybe Arteta could be sacked. I just feel within these last 3 years, in different years, but we ain't got over the line. So how do we do that?
The best Arsenal experience they've ever had in their lives, getting to Champions League semi-finals. They don't know any different. They don't know any different. So this is why Arteta's who he is, because they've not.
You know what it is, guys. I think the interpretation is that when you label,
you can't criticize or it's seen as an attack.
It always seems to be the people behind the manager. The sort of like standard phrase that they will use is that I'm not Arteta in. I just back the managers that's in charge. Have you heard that classic sort of line? Whilst people who are like myself, I say I like him to be replaced, and that I think that he's reached the end of his journey. I think
and there's nothing wrong with that.
He's had 6 years, and I think it's enough. I always say, look, the biggest star at Arsenal's the club. The club's the star.
That's what comes before everything.
I don't consider Henri Bergkamp as the biggest stars at Arsenal, biggest ever stars at Arsenal. The biggest star at Arsenal is Arsenal Football Club. The club's the star. That's my motto. Now, my belief in Mikel Arteta is not personal. It's just that if you look at the leagues around Europe, 6 years is probably enough in order to be given enough money to.
The problem is there's no balanced talk. Any criticism is seen as an attack.
Given enough time to bring success. Now, he has been supported by the crowd, by the fans. He has been supported in the media. He has got a good team, and most importantly, he has been financially supported. It's just that he's given his all. He's worked his nuts off. Yeah. No doubt, he's worked his nuts off. It's just 100%. That the natives are getting restless. The natives want silverware. Some natives like myself and DJB
and we flirted with it
a lot earlier than maybe others. But in essence, he's 6 years is ample time to deliver success, especially when you've been in that position and you failed.
No, exactly, and I'm with Kenny on it. Listen, there's a lot of things that this manager's done. I'm not saying that it's all been doom and gloom with this manager. I was behind this manager. When the manager came in, I thought, okay, young manager, ex-player, give him a chance. And he won the FA Cup, and I'm thinking, here we go. Yeah. And then we had the season where we weren't expected to win the league. And
we need more penetration.
And we went 8 points clear. I was gutted that we didn't get over the line and we bottled the league, let's be honest. But I'm thinking to myself, well, hang on a minute. He's an inexperienced manager. We weren't expected to win the league. And we were at one point, nearly there. So I was willing, and even then I thought, well, okay. But as it's gone on, and we've seen FA Cups go by the wayside early, Carabao Cups disrespected, gone by the wayside, semi-finals, the Bayern Munich game in the Champions League, who were poor, by the way, Bayern Munich, and we were dreadful. Yeah, PSG this season, Carabao Cup this season, getting beat at home against teams we shouldn't have got beat by. Last season, missing out again on the league the season before. He has gone past his sell-by date. And I think if you're going to inject money...
Fair questions.
I think if you're going to inject money in the team, if you've got a new sporting director in place, if you're bringing in new players, start again. Get someone else in. And people say, oh, yeah, but who do we get? There's no one out there. There's no one out there. There is managers out there that would be willing to come and do a job. But if we're going to stick with Arteta, then obviously I've renewed my season ticket as always. I'll be getting behind the team. I'll be gassed up if we win. I'll be supporting.
But that's what people can't see, DJB. Like, we're in this weird stage where you can't just have questions.
And me and Kenny go to games. Me and Kenny still go to games. And me and Kenny's been criticised. Oh, why do you still go to games? Why do you still put up with it? because it's in you. It's in your blood. You
both of you love the fucking club. What are you talking about?
You can't help it. You love the club. So then, I mean, me and Kenny will be next year. We'll be there from day one, and we'll be supporting the team, and we'll be getting whoever we bring in, the Seskos, the Gyokereses, no matter who. Might not be my choice, but I'll still support the club. So don't criticise me when I want to change, because I still pay my money and go. So I've got a right to say who I want at the football club.
I don't think you can 100% say Arteta's the man. I don't think you can 100% say sacking him guarantees it. I think everything has to be on the table because we haven't got over the line in 3 years. He's done some good. He's made some mistakes.
That's a good point. No one can put their hand on their heart and say, yes, this manager is definitely right for this football club, because he hasn't won anything.
He's done He's had
all the opportunities. He's had all the ammunition you can have to win a trophy, and he's failed to deliver. And if you look at the performances in the big games where he could have got over the line, he's failed miserably. It ain't even been a kind of, do you know what I mean? It's been miserable. Man United in the FA Cup, 10 men. Went out miserably.
As a club, we need to
over the two legs. Wasn't really in the games. Failed miserably. PSG failed miserably. Bayern Munich failed. Yeah, these are big games. Game at home against Aston Villa when we lost the league. At home against West Ham when we lost 2-0 last season and 1-0 this season, and everything else. We have failed on all levels in big moments. And all I'm saying is, a manager that's been in this club all of that time with his squad should not be failing big games miserably.
Look, I think Jalen Spence asked a question, and it's a good question. Do you think with this team and a new striker and left wing can win a trophy? You have to say yes.
Yeah, because absolutely, Jaden. Yeah,
you're right, Jalen, because these are the areas where I do think we're significantly weak. I do think that a left back, a left back is what's needed as well. But you look at the fact that we haven't got a striker. You look at the fact that the left wing, sadly, Trossard he's worked his nuts off, and he's impressed a lot. But is he a player to win you the league? I'm not convinced. Martinelli hasn't developed in the same way as Bukayo Saka has. So, But then again, I say last season, when you get into the semi-final of the League Cup, all right, Newcastle are a fantastic team, a very good team. And then tactically, they were better than us in both games. But I would say, categorically, we have to be able to beat teams like that.
There is something with us getting over the line. We can't. There's no pussyfooting around that.
I still think that last season we should have won at least a trophy. It should have gone big.
We should have. That Carabao Cup. We should have won.
Yeah, and another thing as well, top teams are still capable of winning games without the best players. You look at Barcelona in 2009, they had most of their back line out. Yaya Touré's playing at centre half.
Yeah,
Henry and Iniesta could hardly walk. But
we went Old Trafford. We won the league at Old Trafford with a stretch team.
But you know what I mean?
Well, that's why there's no balance, because it's either all the guys' fault or there's an excuse for everything. I'm even seeing it in the chat.
You can win games without your best players.
Where's the middle ground?
You can. That's the thing. You can win best. It's just that this last season, we were in contention. Just weren't good enough.
Some of our best results last season were without our best team.
I think the biggest thing with me, Kenny and DG, is you've got to stop. You've got to just stop it. You just got to stop making excuses. You've got to stop making excuses and look at the real nitty-gritty why we ain't winning trophies. You have to stop looking at excuses. Injuries is part of the game. Red cards is part of the game. It's how you manage it in situations.
This is where I'm saying
we went to Old Trafford.
Balance.
We went to Old Trafford. We have no Henry, no anyone, and we won the league.
Best moments of my life.
Yeah. RM, RM, you may say Messi is the best player in the world. That's your opinion. I've seen Diego Maradona play, mate. And and they say Pele is the greatest player in the world. So
I've seen Maradona play. Go and watch Maradona.
I'm sure I was told by people in the chat that football's a team game. But hey, you moved the goalposts again, RM.
Yeah, exactly. He's moving them goalposts. They'll be on the halfway. RM, them goalposts will be on the halfway line soon, fella. I'll tell you. You know what I'm saying? No, big up the chat as always. Though it's great. I love this show, man. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, but I wish some comments weren't personal.
Yeah,
listen, you can't the personal stuff, man. That's all baby.
No. It's not about personal.
It's easy to say it behind the screen. Stop all that nonsense, people.
No, it's all about opinions. It's all about different opinions. And listen, I respect these avid fans that want Arteta in and get behind Arteta. I respect them as well. All I'm asking is to respect. What's he saying?
Who's been slandering Pele?
Tell Kenny what you think about.
Oh, bloody hell, Rodney, come on.
Jenny, speak to your guy, DG. You're always slandering Pele, man.
Rodney's come with some... Look, it's not...
Pele's not... Well, come on, man. Big up Pele.
Boy, grass up, DG. Come on in,
yeah, DG. Come on, man. He's playing again. Look, no one can verify how good Pele is. Come on, man. I'm not hearing the Pele stuff. I'm not hearing it. He scored 1,000 goals. Who are these guys you're playing against? Forget all of that, man. Pele ain't the best.
What you got to remember though, back in them days when men like Pele and all that was roaming around, you know, they were playing on pitches you wouldn't even walk your dog on.
That's what I'm saying, but there's no real footage. Forgive me, but there's no real footage. Pele might not even be a real person.
They were proper defenders. I don't even go back as far as that. I go back in the days. I go back to the 80s and the 90s and the 70s. I go back to early 80s and 70s. When you was getting clattered from behind and the referee was not even given a free kick. I'd love to be a footballer nowadays. You can't touch them. You can't lean on them. You can't tackle them from behind. You can't do anything. Look at the space and that the players have got these days. They're like babies.
Have you seen Pele's dribbling style? I can't rate that, man. I can't rate that.
Maradona's goal against England. Maradona's goal against England. The second goal, obviously.
What about it?
Oh, come on. The second goal against England. Come on. What about it?
Listen, I more understand the Maradona being the GOAT than Pele. I know that much, even though I'm biased. I more understand that.
It's everyone's different opinion, though, isn't it? I mean, the best defender I've ever seen in my whole lifetime, and I've seen a lot of defenders, is Maldini.
I hear that.
He's up there. He's up there. I think if you talk about the best defenders of all time, you have to look at players like Baresi, who was like he was only 5'10", but he can mark throughout a game. Yeah, mark throughout a game and wouldn't need a shower afterwards. Yeah, and that's just the Italian players. Gentile was dirty, but he could play.
Yeah,
but so you go all the way back. You know what I mean?
Trouble is, you're going to have people come in the chat now and go, "What about Magalhaes? What about Saliba?"
Look,
they're nowhere near them. They're nowhere near them.
Yeah, but the thing is that football's a cruel sport, and I'm probably the cruelest person of all because we had this argument about world class, and I'm going to even be even worse because it's not me. I don't think society, footballing society, will allow us to put Saliba and Gabriel in the same sort of category as Adams and Bold or Adams and Campbell.
No,
unless they win something.
No,
I don't even think the arts community will allow us to do that.
No.
But and that's how football is. I'm the cruelest man ever. Logic says everything should be world class, but I'm not. I'm not admitting he's world class because of my rule.
But
he is.
You're being wrong and strong.
I'll throw something in the chat now. Right, the closest, the best world class player that we've had in England, Paul Gascoigne. There hasn't been anyone.
I hear that.
There hasn't been anyone since.
Hang on it. I've got to challenge you, DJB. I've got to challenge you. DJB, I've got to challenge you. You're going to want to kill me for this.
Go on.
But you're going to understand what I'm going to say. I can think of about 5 or 6 players who are better than him in English.
Name them.
Hoddle, all right. Hoddle, Tony Curry, Rodney Marsh, Alan Hudson, Frank Everton are better than Gaza.
I don't know. I'd put Gaza above.
Better than Gaza. They're all better than Gaza.
I'd put Gaza above Hudson. I don't know about Hoddle, man. Oh yeah, Glenn Hoddle's a tough one.
What, Tony Curry?
Yeah, but I don't know. Gaza had it all, didn't he? He had it all. He had 2 feet. He could dribble. He had 2 feet. He could shoot. He could do everything, man.
Frank Everton.
Oh, Georgie Best. I mean, geez, man. Georgie Best.
We don't talk about English players.
Yeah, English players. Glenn Hoddle, yeah. Trouble is, I saw a lot of games up for England. Hoddle had stinkers in, though. Very rarely did I see Paul Gascoigne have a bad game for club and country. That's what I label as well.
He had Terry Venables and Bobby Robson as managers who let him play.
Yeah, but I mean, with
that sort of license to thrill. In fact, when it went wrong, they blamed Glenn Hoddle because he couldn't tackle. But
with Paul Gascoigne, he produced for England what he also produced at club level as well, and that's what I liked about Gaza. But
let me ask you a question then, yeah. Most overrated English players then.
Most overrated? Oh, there's hundreds.
There's a truckload.
There's one that plays right now, Jude Bellingham.
You can't do that when Phil Foden's kicking the ball, man. When has Phil Foden turned up for our country?
David Beckham. David Beckham's overrated.
David Beckham, most overrated player.
Oh, come on. David Beckham.
Overrated.
Overrated. What could he do? What could he do other than cross the ball?
You are.
Wasn't it against Greece or whatever? I was in primary school. Beckham gave me a lot of memories, man.
He couldn't tackle. He couldn't head the ball. He had no pace. He had a good
Beckham's not the most overrated. You got Grealish, you got Foden. Foden's the generational talent. I haven't seen Foden do anything for England. I've seen Palmer score in the final. I've seen Saka do it in the World Cup and 2 Euros. I've seen a lot. And Foden's not the only player to flatter to deceive. But come on, man.
Stones, Harry Maguire. The list will go on with England. I think
Harry Maguire. He's not the best, but he don't let the nation down.
I think England is overrated. Full stop.
Yeah, no, we agree with that.
Hey, Mikey.
They're better now than they used to be. I'll be real.
Why don't you ask us some questions? Because you want to know, you want to chest our knowledge. You ask some questions. You got free will. Go on, Mikey B. Come on, just do your worst.
I'll tell you another player who I thought was overrated, and this is going to light up the chat. Teddy
I know you're going to say.
Yeah.
This is gonna boil some piss. This is gonna boil some piss. Wait for it, because you told me this, or you told us this on another channel, on Jez's channel.
Go on,
take the floor.
Go on, I can't remember. Go on and remind everyone, Kenny. You say.
Oh, it's your.
I can't remember. I've done too many shows.
All right, he played for Liverpool, and he played for Liverpool.
Oh, yeah. John Barnes, mate, the most overrated player ever.
No, you can't. I weren't even there, but you can't say John Barnes was overrated.
John Barnes, most overrated player.
Nah.
One solo against Brazil, and that was it.
No, come on. Liverpool, I have to admit.
Liverpool, no, I'll give you a club player. Superb for Liverpool, but for England, overrated.
I think there was
completely overrated.
That's a stick.
All right.
I wasn't even there.
Calafiore's qualities. All right. Do you want me to be honest about Calafiore? Calafiore is a centre half rather than a left back, and Calafiore is very, very good on the ball.
I believe him.
And he's got a very good read in the game, but we won't be seeing that because he won't get a chance to play at centre half because of the partnership of Saliba and Gabriel. At left back, he's learning the game, but Calafiore plays his best football probably in a back three.
Yeah. Absolutely, and this manager
needs, man. And Magalhaes gets more game time. Apparently, Magalhaes only started in
the chat's just lit up now on the overrated bit. Now the chat's just lit up on the overrated players, man. There's loads of them for England, tons of them.
All right, as well, yeah. You know what? Most overrated player that played for Arsenal for you lot. One for you lot that's older than obviously us lot here, and one that's I'd say give or take 90s to now.
You know what? I don't wish to be offensive, right? But I I always look at Ray Parlour and I think, you know what? He should pray to God he got to play with some really world-class players at Arsenal.
Yeah.
I got slander on for Pele, man.
Sorry.
He was never really rated like that.
Thank you, Gunnarola. You know my past. All right, guys. This is going to really boil your piss, and I hope you have like dolls of me, and you're just pricking it and wishing me death.
You ain't going to say
Mesut Ozil is the most overrated player we've ever had. Thank you.
No, he's not.
Thank
Get out of
you,
here.
I forgot about
No, he's not. Mesut Ozil. I'll flip it. Mesut Ozil is one of the best players to have ever played for this club.
On his day.
On his day.
Which that one season.
Yeah. Just in terms of his technical ability and what he could bring to the table, all the other baggage, I'm with you, but
overrated. Played his best football. He played his best football at
He was just a prima donna.
He played his best football at Real Madrid and for Germany. But the fact is, Mesut Ozil didn't display. Mesut Ozil got world-class ability without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, and he was a pussy.
And he played with panache, I like, but he didn't do it for Arsenal in the big moments.
Here we go. This
FA Cup final.
This one's going to light up the chat.
FA Cup final, Cafola.
This one's going to light up the chat.
The Chelsea one.
I'll give you another overrated player at Arsenal. Charlie Nicholas.
Yes.
Charlie Nicholas, overrated.
Yes.
Why was he overrated for those that weren't here to see such?
Because the goal tally that he got wasn't really what we bought him for. He should have got a lot more, and his work rate off the ball was not very good. And he to me he was overrated.
He was. Charlie was overrated. Charlie Nicholas.
I liked, he had character. He had character which got him through, but he was overrated in my book.
He only played well against Tottenham. The odd time at Liverpool, Charlie Nicholas was a waste of money.
Yeah, he was.
It was Mesut Ozil of the 80s.
Yes, that's the best way to describe him, Kenny. I couldn't have put it better myself. He was the Mesut Ozil of the 80s, yeah.
Fair enough. Dixon could never be overrated, man.
You know, Mesut Ozil divides opinion.
Dixon?
Nah,
man, that's one of my guys. Never overrated.
I understand it. Mesut Ozil plays football with panache. He technically, when you talk about world-class ability, there's certain things Mesut Ozil does with football. It's criminal. But
so is he overrated then?
Yeah, I'll tell you why he's overrated, because
I'd have him instead of Odegaard. I'll tell you that now.
Do you know what? Ozil would actually thrive in. Well, maybe not because he's not going to work, but he'd actually bang now. You got a team.
It again. Assists. Oh, Mikey, no.
What's he doing?
He's doing the assist thing, and that Mesut Ozil's world class because of his.
Listen,
that's what he was. He was a creative guy. Ozil is like deserving. You have to have
XG soon, mate. They'll be bamboozling you with XG soon. Don't worry about that.
Mikey,
Ozil's not a player that's going to drag you. That's our problem.
Get rid of that XG, mate. Get rid of it. Quangos.
What do you not want from Ozil? To run around and all of that? I've said it. I do think Ozil is a crackbaby.
I want the consistency and more goals. That's all I ask for.
And I hear that, but Ozil's never been that. He's just been a creative genius.
Why are you calling him world class? Why are you calling him world class?
Oh, are we forgetting when he played Messi in the final? Who won the World Cup? Who has the assist records? He's the living, breathing embodiment of creativity.
This is an Arsenal show. This is an Arsenal show. Was he world class for Arsenal?
100%. I'll say that. Are we forgetting what he did in the Chelsea final when we won? I'll say it for Arsenal. He didn't listen. On a serious note, we never saw consistent. Ozil was just allowed to do too much bullshit here. Wenger facilitated nonsense, a lot of nonsense, and his little pussy ways.
Mikey's twisted it around and said world class in what he does.
No, but he is though. Ozil's not going to run off with.
We've got the biggest overrated player by a lot of the Arsenal fans currently at the club right now.
RM. Thanks for that. All right. You want me to rank Sanchez, Perez, and Overmars? Perez, Sanchez, and Overmars. Perez is the fourth best player that I've seen in an Arsenal shirt.
100%.
Fair. I don't think that's
Perez was incredible.
Gotta be Perez, man.
Sanchez was incredible. Overmars, incredible. All them players, mate. All them players. See, what you got to realise, right? If you're naming these players, every single one of those players that you've just named would walk into this current Arsenal team. That tells you everything you need to know.
How many of these players are world class?
Mikey,
how many of these current players would walk into the Invincible team?
Hey, Mikey B.
There you go, DG.
How we been found out, Mickey?
You're struggling.
Examples.
I think the right back. I think the goalie.
Mickey, speak to me, Mickey.
2.
If I just look at ability, just 2. I think Saka could be in the squad.
Mikey B is a modern football fan.
But that's one of the best Premier League sides, though, DJ. It's harsh,
far enough.
Pardon?
Mikey B is a modern football fan. He's apparently been found out because we were asked to ask 2 questions. And
what's there to be found out about?
So we've been found out.
I don't know what you lot are meant to be found out about, but okay.
Mikey B, mate. Speak English. I'm not your brother, mate, and spell brother properly, mate.
What we've been found out about now? What we've been found out about now?
I have no clue. I have no clue.
Overmars was a top player. Saliba or Torre?
I'm
not going to lie. When I remove nostalgia, I think there's a shout there.
Pele is king. I said Pele is king. I never said he was poor. I think Pele's the best player I've ever lived. Where'd you get this thing that I said Pele wasn't the best player?
I'm going to watch Pele highlights, but I can't get behind
it. Pele's not.
Yeah, I said it, to be fair. Yeah, they were rated Pele.
You can't not have Pele as the king. Pele was unreal. But then there was other players as well. Listen,
Pele's got 1,000 goals.
The beauty of it now, you can go and watch men like Pele, Maradona. You can watch clips of all of them now. Saka is better than Lundberg. Disagree. Lundberg won everything. Saka hasn't.
I can't lie. Player for player ability. I don't think that's a bad shout. I don't want to disrespect Lundberg. My mum would never let me have my hair red in primary school. I really wanted to do that. Lundberg's my hero, one of my heroes. But
he would get game time in the Invincible team. Saka would get game time in the Invincible team. Yeah. I'll give him that.
You know the thing about Freddie Lundberg got the most out of his footballing ability. He would, in terms of like playing in the midfield, he wasn't a great left-sided player, but what he's a very good at timing his runs from the midfield. And he hasn't got probably the
very good team player,
all the footballing gifts of Saka, but Saka is close to getting that trajectory. I just pray it's with Arsenal. I really pray it's with Arsenal and England, of course, because it's close, really close.
Do you think Saka will go down as an Arsenal legend?
Should do, but we I just hope that we provide him with the tools and the team to do that.
Yeah, I think that's what we're all hoping for, man.
Oh yeah,
he makes the right decisions. He when you compare him to a lot of the his peers, he makes the right decisions. That's why he's picked for Arsenal on a regular basis. Why he's picked for England. 9 out of 10 times he shoots at the right time. 9 out of 10 times. He passes at the right time. 9 out of 10 times he puts in the perfect ball. That's why he plays.
I think what goes against Saka, I do think this is a bit of a lie. People act like he's not pleasing on the eye because some of the things he does, he's crazy. Like he's got an inevitability about him. But I think what goes against him is he's not doing a million step overs. Like people don't understand what he's about. He doesn't have to, but that's the goalpost they're going to use against him.
Let's get it right. Saka is a wonderful player. He's an absolute wonderful
world class.
And what worries me is he doesn't want to be another Harry Kane. He might be, boyhood club and all of that. And people think that he's loyal. At the end of the day, he's got ambition. He's got dreams.
One career.
He wants to win something. And that will be the turning point for this manager. If Saka then puts his hands up and goes, I want out, I want to leave, that will be, when that happens, everyone will then start going, oh, hang on a minute. Arteta. Suddenly these Arteta, that thinks the sun shines out of his backside will start going, hang on a minute. Saka wants to leave.
Starboy's gone.
Wants to win trophies.
My God, Grace, that's not the case.
Yeah, no, he's a wonderful player. Absolutely. Anelka, Anelka
all day long.
Anelka was a fantastic player. Anelka was
levels above Owen. Levels.
Unfortunately,
he might have panned out, man. Well, still had a good career, but it weren't quite that.
Yeah, unfortunately, he had
Hey, Anelka and Adebayor are levels above Aubameyang.
There's nothing crazy with that shout. Shout to Aubameyang. There's nothing crazy.
Some of the chat will want to fight me for saying that.
Do you lot? I got a question, yeah, and it's a great way to end this, yeah, because I've taken off a lot of you lot's time. Do you think if Anelka, like, if it worked out for Anelka and he wasn't sold early, do you think Henry ever plays for this football club and we ever know Thierry Henry at Arsenal and all that stuff pans out?
Henry's the best player I've ever seen at Arsenal, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm just glad that I had Henry. I'm going
to put Henry up there as one of the best. Obviously, Anelka was an exceptional player. It's
almost like the Henry before.
For me, Bergkamp was the best player I've seen at Arsenal.
So the thing is, I don't disagree with what you said.
No,
because I always, when you talk about the Henry Bergkamp debate, I always say there's both answers are right. But for me, when I think of Boom, I think about the goals, the way he changed the way forwards play, and most importantly,
swagger.
Whenever he played, I didn't think we'd lose.
No.
And he gave me that feeling that he wasn't just a motorist player. He just thought, right, he had that presence. Don't get me wrong.
But he was nasty as well, Bergkamp. He weren't a nice player. He had plenty of that.
He was a cunt.
He could mix it as well. That's what made.
He just didn't want to fly.
He had an evil streak with class.
Yeah,
he made evil look class, whereas Shearer was a brilliant goal scorer.
Diego Costa
goal scorer, but he didn't have the class of Bergkamp, man.
Yeah, but you know what it is, right, about Dennis Bergkamp. The reason why you've got to say Dennis Bergkamp, because when you look at his ability, you sometimes say he's the only moments player who did it on a consistent basis. To the extent, if you talk about that season in 1997 and 98, Dennis Bergkamp, unbelievable. The goals. I mean, look at the match of the day. Goal of the month.
Yeah,
he was first, second, and third.
Yeah, I know. Incredible, mate.
Ridiculous.
Incredible. Yeah. And then what made him as well? He went to his country and played national football, and he was scoring goals like against Argentina, pulling it out the sky. I mean, go and check that goal out. So this is what I'm saying. For me, players that are consistent for their club, and then when they play for their country, they don't look any different, is a great player. Even Henry had bad games for France. Yeah.
But you know, with Dennis Bergkamp and Henry, you know the thing that was so similar about them? They had very poor starts. There was a time when Dennis first came to the club that Dennis couldn't,
No, he's terrible.
It was take Henry about 11 games or something like that.
Yeah.
It was a game at Southampton. We scored 2 worldies, and then his career just kind of took off a bit slow, but 96, 97, about 97, 98. But Thierry Henry, he couldn't hit a barn door from a yard when he first came.
Yeah.
There was one time, Henry, one guy behind me.
Social media was around them times.
Thierry Henry, you know what he used to say? Waste of money.
Exactly. We did, Yeah, but do you know?
We give Sesko a chance then.
Do you know what though? I know you're coming to a close. It's been a brilliant. I've really enjoyed it.
The chat has been fantastic, by the way.
The chat, we've had the chat. There's been a few people that have sworn on that, but come on, guys, listen.
The majority of people.
We're all Arsenal. We're all Arsenal and football fans here. We don't need it.
There's a few Liverpool fans in there, Tottenham fans. I've just checked.
Yeah, good luck.
There's Spurs fan.
I respect all fans. Good luck to them. Even Spurs fans, I had to turn around and say good luck to them winning that cup. Really, it was hard. But
I didn't. I blocked all of them. I'm a sore loser like Arteta.
No, man.
You live local, don't you, mate?
That's why I'm seeing it enough, man. I'm not on it. Like, I saw it with my own eyes.
And it's funny that we're talking about all these great players at Arsenal, right? And yet we can't put this current team yet in the same category.
Hey,
what did
Luke
There you go. There you go. And none of these. Also, Kenny, our current manager has not mentioned once as an Arsenal great, is he, as a player?
Nowhere near. He might go down as a great manager if you can bring me a champs or something like that. But as a player, people didn't want Arteta at the club.
I think history, if Arteta was to leave, two things are factual. History would be kind to Mikel because of the fact that he got us competing again. But history would be kind to him. However, in terms of like, will Arteta go and win things after he leaves Arsenal? Well, Emery did. Emery won a Europa League after he left us. There's no doubt in my mind that Mikel will probably win trophies elsewhere.
He's going to be a good coach. It's just you need to do it here, bro.
But for Arsenal, it's just that I think his time's just probably elapsed. Boy, it's elapsed. For me, it's elapsed.
Yeah, it is. It's a shame. Look, even though everyone knows my opinion on that's been following me and everything else about my manager, what I don't like is I'm a football man as well. I don't want Arteta. I don't want it to end badly for Arteta because of the work he's done. I don't want it to end horrible like it did Wenger. You know, I don't want that to happen to Arteta. This is what I'm saying. I'd rather him hold his hands up, and if you don't get over the line next season and just walk away, I don't want it to turn nasty. I don't want banners in the stadiums and all this viciousness against the manager, because he has done some good things for a manager in his first job. You know,
he's done very well. But
before it gets to that, it's time for a change. There you go.
That's fair.
Everything has its time.
Unfortunately, DJB, another thing as well. When you talk about when people do ask the questions, there's no guarantees the next man's going to win trophies.
No.
What we've seen in the last 5 seasons is evidence that he can't get us over the line.
Facts. Yeah. There's no guarantees the next manager's going to come in, because I hear this question all the time. Oh yeah, but what's the guarantee that the next manager's? No, we don't know that. But what we do know is what's happening there. Yeah.
I think that's the situation, is that, you know, that we're at a massive club, and the demands for trophies are every day. And I know people may say that's a bit of contradiction, because we witnessed us going 9 years without silverware under Arsene Wenger, and then
Wenger got killed for these things
in 1953 to 70, and then we didn't win anything from 71 to 78. And there has been periods where Arsenal have been unsuccessful. However, that doesn't stop us from being a big club and demanding that we are a big club. Look, Liverpool didn't win the league for 30 years, but their fans still demand that. Their fans still demand that they have to compete for trophies, because they've seen Champions Leagues, they have seen league titles, and now they're seeing them. They're not going to let go of those standards.
You have to raise the standards, guys. You can't keep. Yeah, it's true, Kenny, man. And you can't keep settling for second best and no trophies just because the manager's taken us from where we were.
Exactly.
And that's what annoys me as well. Taking us from where we were as if we're like Southampton or West Bromwich Albion or something. You know what I mean? He hasn't done like a miracle. He's
reset the standards, but they tried to rewrite history a bit too much.
No, you can't rewrite the history, but you can't keep settling for second best just because of what the manager's done since he's been here. You can't have that as a benchmark of success.
You can't rate Arteta then. If you're happy with just second year after, people can't rate him as much as they do, because if we're getting to semis and we're flirting with it, you have to rate him.
I think they've seen some traumatic performances under Arsene Wenger. Arsene Wenger. Look at it. They're going to point to the 8-2, the 6-0 against Chelsea.
Yeah, since we moved to the Emirates,
and regular humblings by our rivals. And that's where they think, well, I'm actually enjoying the fact that we don't get thrashed anymore, and that we do have a reasonable record against the top 6. But that's not enough for me.
So let's put something down in history.
But do you know a lot of it, though, guys? And I know we've got to close, but do you know a lot of it? I think a lot of it is people are scared of change. That's what it is. They're comfortable. They've been through the COVID, the lockdown. They've seen this manager since, like, going through some times in life, and they're frightened of change. They're frightened of making that kind of, what happens what's going to happen to Arsenal if a new manager does? They're frightened. Well, but we've seen it over the years, Kenny. We've not had that many managers, because that's what Arsenal Football Club is very proud of, that we don't keep swapping and changing our managers. But we have seen change. And sometimes you just have to get used to it. You have to face the facts, and you have to have the change to make things better. That's the way it is.
I'm without a shadow of that. Hello from Ghana. You know, that's Ghana.
Where's that? Big up Ghana, man. Oh, shout out Ghana, man.
Hello from Ghana.
Yeah, big up Ghana.
I second what you say about the situation. You know, next season is going to be like, it's going to be a situation where collectively, whatever you think, they're
Let's pray we get over the line, man.
It's not praying, it's demands now. I think
it's demands regardless. I just pray we get over the line, because that's what I want. I want us to look back at this and like, oh, we're getting angry for no reason. It's happening, Larry.
This season just gone was an expectation on the basis that we were close enough, and that Man City were basically came to its natural end physically.
However, we're going to be the ones to be there. It wasn't.
One thing I will say in the chat, I will say to all of us here, without showing that, regardless of what the team looks like, regardless of the injuries or suspensions, the demands for trophies is paramount. There's not. I don't think any fan is going to be happy if there's no silverware, no glory at the end of the season. I don't think that the explanations, referees, VAR, and injuries. I don't think people are going to accept that, because collectively, all I'm hearing from every, like I said, opinion poll of the fan base, or every section of fan bases, is next season it has to be trophies.
It has to be. It's got to be. It's got to be trophies.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's it.
That's where we're at. We said that last year, like going into last season,
because we're going round in circles. We're going round in
swings and roundabouts. Shout out Dan.
For me, if we're languishing badly, performances are not very good. 9 points off the top of the league come Christmas. That's it. Pull the plug.
That's the thing, but I don't know to do that, or if we genuinely are going into this, like if the Cronkies are going into this season saying, do you know what, if Arteta doesn't get over the line, we're going to go get a new manager or something. You need to be drawing up shortlists now. I don't think they're that proactive, because I think for them, at the end of the day, Arteta's still got cult followers. I think many balanced Arsenal fans, some like us, some would want him gone, some would give him his praise, etc. He's getting Champions League, where, like you said, we're not getting battered in the top 6. We're in that halfway house, in that there's like 10 good things, 10 bad things. And this is just feeling like what we're at. Like, because I genuinely think if this season, like if the exact same thing plays out, like 2 semi-finals, an FA Cup in second, I don't think Arteta gets sacked. I do think there'll be rumblings from the fans and people like us, but internally, they've survived darker times when we was back-to-back 8th and all of that. So if you can survive that, what's finishing second? Oh, we didn't get the Champions League final.
Where's the point? Because we asked that question, with Arsene Wenger, where we were getting in the Champions League, and a lot of people in the club agreed that the Champions League was where we should be, not quite winning trophies, but there was a cut-off point. There were situations where there were protests, televised, and even his supporters were admitting that there had to be change. That we don't want to get in a situation where next year, if we don't win anything, it's 6 years. 6 years,
that's too long, man. Too long.
Especially with them down the road.
Too long for a manager that's had a squad of players for a long time,
Exactly.
Too long. Yeah, but way too long. Too long.
It's been a great show, lads, man. I don't know how we've been here for 2.5 hours, but it's been amazing.
With the legends. Big up the chat. DJ, thank you very much.
Before we get out of it, DJB, let people know they can find you. And then Kenny.
Yeah, you got DJB, the Arsenal Huddle, my channel. I do different things. I have different guests on. I've got Kenny on coming on Monday with Jez and Nomsky. I'm doing different things. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm on with Aaron on my channel. So, come along, follow.
Subscribe.
Bit like today, guys. Bit like today. We discuss everything that's going on with Arsenal. We talk football. We have enjoy. Enjoy. Have a look.
You know what I've just proved?
Come and have a look.
What we've proved today is that when you say there's nothing to talk about, the match at the night you often thought we've spent 2.5 hours.
There's always something to talk about.
The season's over,
yeah,
but we've had 2.5 hours of a lot of competitive debates with the chat included. And I would say, the reviews and the previews and the speculation is more fun than the actual match.
Yeah, exactly.
Rory.
Listen, and it's all about opinions at the end of the day. Whether you agree or not agree, as long as it's friendly, as long as it's opinionated, as long as it's football, let's enjoy the ride, mate. It's too much people out there.
And we all just love football at the end of the day.
Exactly. And we love this club. And that's the thing. That's the thing. We want the best for the club.
That's it, man, and we deserve it, man. We more than anything, more than money and all of that stuff, bro. We're so emotionally invested into Arsenal. It's unreal, man. And for more younger fans, younger than me, like I'm only 30. Like one thing that shocks me is this is genuinely the best that they've seen. Like some of the things that they find amazing, I'm like, hang about. I need you lot to see what getting over the line actually means. Like I've seen my team win the league at 2 of our rivals. Yeah. I need that back. Like, yeah, it's cool to see a couple FA Cups and have a good top 6 record, but it's not good enough.
I'll tell you what you're going to see at the weekend. You're going to see Spain retain their Nations League.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, come on, David Raya. I don't think you'll play, but it pick him up, man. Yeah. But yeah, people, man. Follow DJB. Kenny, let people know they can find you as well, man.
You can find me on Instagram, Kenny Ken 1972. And, as I said before, I'm not, off season, I don't know, DG hates cricket. I'll tell you one thing. If you're watching the West Indies ladies playing, I'll tell you that's the reason I hate cricket. They're terrible at the moment. But the cricket season's on.
Yeah, and, cricket.
And if you like rugby, the Lions are...
definitely not safe. Fuck that.
No.
All right. You still have the World Club Championships and you still have the Women's
That's where I'll be. Or Wimbledon when it's on. That's about it, man.
Yeah.
I ain't watching all the sports.
You only tell us who watches Wimbledon, nothing else.
Yeah, man. Maybe if the Open's on or something, and I'll have it on TV. But I'll watch Wimbledon. I only love football. I'm not really into other sports. I'm not on it. Hate rugby.
I'll be going to watch my local county in the T20 blast, mate. Don't worry about that. That's coming up.
You know what? If I actually went to a cricket game, I might look at it differently. But
I'll have to get you tickets, DG. We'll come along. I'll get you involved.
Hey, come, let's do it, man. Yeah, I might change my opinion.
I'm telling you, you'll love it. You'll love it. Friday night.
Let's get drunk, man.
Watching a proper cricket team, not the lot that Kenny supports.
Our Middlesex, we're classic.
Essex. Come on, you Essex.
Essex.
You can come along to Chelmsford. Friday night, DG. A few beers.
I'll be there, man. I'm on that.
I'm telling you.
I'm on that, man.
It takes you away from all this madness of Arsenal Football Club.
You know, I might become a calmer individual. Yeah, DJB, man. I might become a calmer individual, like falling in love with another sport, man. Like, you never know. And Mikey, I will do my research for the Pele on Pele, man. It's all a joke. I just slander him as a joke.
Yeah.
I don't know why boy said that. But... All right, lads, it's been amazing. Let me let you lot enjoy your evening, man.
Kenny, I'll catch up soon, brother.
Come on, chat. Big up the chat. You lot are the men and women of the match. So big up, you lot, man.
Big up.
Back again next Wednesday, folks. Peace.
Back again. Back again. Who is he?
Huh?
Who calling that phrase back again? Who is he?
I think Troops, to be fair.
Yeah, the Troops.
Shout out Troops, man. Oh, this guy, man, in a bit.